Hello everyone, and welcome to another live stream with me, 320 Sim Pilots. I hope you're all doing well. Thank you very much for coming along today. And we are here in Manchester. This is live weather. Look at that, absolutely beautiful day here in Manchester, unusually, nice high pressure. So we're going to be taking off and heading to somewhere that should be pretty nice weather today as well, down to Olbia in Sardinia, which is not somewhere we've been before. Pretty new to me, so I'm quite excited to go and give it a go. We're using the Macco Simulations scenery that I did a review on a little while back. It's now been updated, so this is version 1.0, and the good news is we have a fantastic livery I'm about to show you, of course, and we're also going to head down and use the ORBX scenery. ORBX kindly provided their Olbia scenery for this as well, so yeah, that's pretty good. I think we should have some nice looking streams when we can get these sceneries in, so I was really excited to give it a go. Right, here we are then. So this is the Terminal 2, the older terminal, and here's the livery. Look at that, just glorious. One of my all-time favourites, along with JMC. This livery has been featured on the channel more than any other, I think. Probably closely followed by Britannia after that. But yeah, it's been on, I've had it on the A321, which we made into a NEO. We had it on our 757 twice, I think, possibly. And here it is again in all its glory. I absolutely love this livery, and this is a special one that I haven't seen done before. As you know, by the way, obviously this is the Padday livery feature channel. So we have got Padday's representation of it here. Done an amazing job with what is quite a complex livery. Although it's got this thin slice of colour down the side, lots of different shapes and textures and colours go into it, so nice to see. And we have the wing painting. Now, the wing painting is not something you'll have seen before. It's not on any of the other liveries I've tried out. It's really nice. I did a bit of digging about it. So I had this on a model of a 757 I got from Air 2000 when I was growing up, and we flew on them, and it was provided on the model that I bought, the sort of in-flight plastic model that you get, the push-together ones. And it came with this this livery, and it's included the wing painting. I was doing a bit of digging, and there's an article from, I think, 1997 which talks about it. So the reason they added that was in the corporate design when they came up with this Tapestry livery. It's called the Tapestry livery, and this was part of the original design by the advertising team. The idea was that if you were on the ground and you saw this airplane fly overhead, you'd instantly be able to see, oh look, it's the Air 2000 heading off on holiday, and you can see it under here, which is why they went for these really bright, bold colours. They wanted to change from a charter sort of airline to a holiday airline, and you can really feel that. It does look fun and like you're off on holiday. So the idea was you'd see that from the ground, you'd go, oh, that's Air 2000, they must be going off on holiday, and you'd feel a bit like, oh, I wish I was on that plane going on holiday. It's a bit of a twang of wishing you were there, a bit of envy. So it's designed to invoke that reaction, and it really surprised me. But I wonder if that's why this livery stands out in my mind so much, because it has that reaction to me. I feel like I'm going on holiday, and simpler times, and nothing to do but enjoy your flight and get to somewhere sunny and just relax for a week or two. So it did work definitely at that role, and there it is. So there you go. There's the little Wikipedia facts that I did with a bit of digging. However, Padday includes two versions of this livery, or you can choose which one you get. They don't all. One doesn't have the wing painting because I don't think it was ever actually fitted to the aircraft. Probably one of those things that was thought about as a nice idea but never really practical, or maybe couldn't get certified because you're painting over fuel tanks, things like that. But yeah, that was the intent. But I don't know if it ever flew. So there we go. Amazing job as ever, and we are going to take it and enjoy it plenty during the flight. I'm going to jump into the chat. I've been in trouble again recently, by the way, so I'd love to be able to blame you guys, but it's all my fault. Yeah, I've been spending too long on the ground. So we are in a warmed up airplane. There's no cold and dark today. We're going to power up and get ready to go very soon. So DG27, thanks for coming. Good to see you again. Long time viewer of the channel. And yeah, agrees. Air 2000 is good. A lot of positive reaction to this livery. I think I saw Padday in the chat. So welcome, Padday, and thank you for making the effort to do this, including the wing painting. Really nice. Great to see. But yeah, good to see you. Chickpoint, Lizzo5, Lauren V, hope you're doing well. Yeah, nice flight to Sardinia. Take us somewhere nice and warm. Kodeko, I hope you're doing well. Thanks for coming along. And Pedro, nice to see you here. Matteo Chewy, thanks for coming and moderating. Frank, I hope you're doing well. Matt Haynes as well. Martin Scarv, Frank, if I didn't say Frank. Deep Future. Yeah, the Cloudbot should be active. So if you guys want to fly along the route, should be, when it does eventually wake up, the route will be available. We're going to depart via a slightly different route to what I put into the Discord. We're actually going, I did update it on the Discord with a little message, but we're going to go via the Sanba departure instead of the Listo. Apparently that's what they like to use. I've been kindly informed by William on the Discord. Right, good to see you guys. Andy H1302, thanks for coming. Yeah, about a 2-hour 20 flight down to Sardinia today, so all good. And we should even have a replay, so do remind me about the replay feature when we get down there, please, 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 or I'll forget. Mr. Dylan FM, I hope you're doing well. Oh, they've added the brake fan. We'll go and have a look at that. Oscar Lamprecht, thanks for coming. Great to see you here. Blazing Boxer Shorts, I hope you're doing well. Jay Whiteside, thanks for coming. Crash the Desktop says there was a patch release 30 minutes ago. I know. I think I've got it, and I'm a bit worried. So I couldn't believe it. I wish I'd started the sim a bit earlier, but there we go. Chief Sim Pilot, hope you're doing well. Thanks for coming. Another YouTuber, part of the Simwings community. Always good to see you here, Chief Sim Pilot. Thanks for coming along. Yeah, there's plenty of streams in a variety of airplanes. Right, good to see you. Ilias01 says CRJ release announcement anytime. There we go. Lots of exciting things in Microsoft Flight Simulator at the moment. Mr. Dylan FM, I think I've said. Joe Vaughan, hope you're doing well. Dougal, if you're here. I think I saw Dougal. Yeah, Dougal, thanks for coming. Ed Haslam, good to see you as well. ORBX for the arrival. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. We'll be flying along offline, cracking livery. Yeah, great. So you're welcome to fly along with me in VATSIM. Alternatively, of course, you can follow along in Spirit offline. I'm not sure how many people are coming along today. I really don't know. We're a bit on our own on Terminal 2. Which is going to be good for the pushback, get us out of the way nice and quickly. But yeah, we have the replay feature. We've got the latest version of this mod, which has some nice new features. Let's just hope the patch hasn't broken anything. I really hope that. Paddy says, glad to see you got to the bottom of that. Couldn't find anything on the wing designs. Couldn't even find any other photos of the model. No, exactly. But yeah, I just found an article talking about it. Ethan's Aviation, I hope you're doing well. Thanks for coming along. And right, I'm going to have to get into the flight deck or I'm going to get in big trouble. Get people complain on the replays it's taking too long. Right, Listo on 2.3 is limited to non-jet or less than 35 tons. Oh, there we go, 35 tons. Thanks, Jamlin. Thank you for that. Thanks for coming and thanks for saying so. 777, good to see you. Glad you like it. Mateo says, Olbia is where my father is from. I've spent more than 20 summer holidays around there. Excellent. Oh, well, you'll know more about it, so do fill us in with the information as we go. GTA XT, thanks for coming. Andy Bernheim, good to see you guys. Fusion. Right. Let us jump in to the flight deck. That's the end of the drone. So here we go, all powered up as promised. Let us, well, pretty much what I've done is we're powered up. We've got the jet bridge attached, but this is sort of like the plane's just been flown in. We've just jumped on board to take it down to Olbia. You don't have to do a full reset, or some airlines will make you do the full sort of setup and fire checks when you swap crews. Some airlines won't. It does depend. But anyway, we're going to say we've done all that, so this is just sort of a turnaround style one. So overhead panel's done. Somebody will be out doing the walk around in the lovely sunshine and enjoying that livery. Can you imagine working on this aeroplane and getting to enjoy that livery every day? That wouldn't be so bad, would it? We're going to load in our flight like this. I did check the route and it did work earlier. Please work this time. There we go. 2 hours 20 for the flight today. Not too bad at all. And whilst we're here, let's do the performance, weight and balance. Brighten it up. So apparently brake fans have been added actually. Let's see. There they are. Oh, let's jump. Now you can hear them. Can you guys hear that? Do I need to turn up the sound of the simulator? Usually it's too quiet. Let me have a look. You let me know. Let me know if it's too loud for you guys. I'll just crank it up a bit more than normal. That high pitch whine, they are incredibly loud, and we usually turn them off when someone's doing the walk around. The fan blades are just down in here in each of the wheels, and they blast air onto the brakes to keep them or to cool them down. But yeah, that's great. All added. Boris no doubt worked hard on those sound effects. We need 9.1, but as ever, I'm going to just top that up to, let's do 10 tons today. Not entirely convinced about some of the figures. And load that. There's our 9.9, perfect. And we're going to do performance, weight and balance. Do the request. Oh, that's what I did already. Sorry, 10 tons. Now here we go. Right, let's load that on as it is. That should work out. 120 passengers for this one. Taking off at 63.8, I was expecting a little bit heavier, so it's always a bit lighter, 64 tons, but that's absolutely fine. That'll work with our flight plan. Good stuff. So let's go to our traditional setup. Data aircraft status. There we go. It seems like their databases are a bit better these days, but that's still slightly out of date, but no problem there. And we'll go to init A, init requests. Sebastian, Losha, thank you so much for your €10 donation. Really appreciate it. That's very kind of you. Sebastian says, thanks again for all the great content. I'm looking forward to yet another superb live stream. That's great, Sebastian. Thank you so much. Thank you for your donation, and thanks for supporting the channel as always. That's very generous, €10. Really kind, and it all goes towards the channel. But thank you. That's really great. I'm really glad you enjoy the streams. I wouldn't normally have streamed so close together, but this time I just had to get this livery out and in the air. It's just too good. And then we had so many little updates and improvements, and I got the replay working, I hope. So yeah, I was too excited. Plus the ORBX scenery. So Sebastian, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Thank you. And I'm glad you made it along to another live stream. Ethan says, is there any other planes you know that have those fans? 327 Pilot. Yeah, there are. There's I think they're quite common brake fans, but maybe not on smaller aircraft. Maybe this, I don't know if the 7.3 has it, for example. But yeah, they're an option. Not all 320s have them. Some aircraft will just have that panel, that little button missing. You don't need them, and we wouldn't need them now because 15 degrees is pointless, so we can turn those off. But nice to see that they're modelled. They are very loud. Right, that has loaded in. So we're going to be jet set 258 for this flight today, cruising at flight level 370, Costa Next 53. Keep getting 53 given to me by SimBrief, not sure why. It's aligning on the GPS, or it has a line, sorry, I should say. And the wind temperature, still can't load it in like that, so we'll do the component alternate of Fiumicino, of course. So that is init A. It's not very bright. I can't make it go any brighter, it seems, but there we go. It's just too sunny outside. So data, init A, flight plan. Here we go. What we'll do is, let's get the weather before we load in the wrong flight plan. See if they tell us which runway's in use for departure. 80s, please. E, G, C, C. Departure. Send. So yeah, like I say, I wouldn't normally have put two Microsoft Flight Simulator streams close to each other, but yeah, too many good things, too much news going on. Had to give it another go. I really wanted to take this livery up into the sky. There we go, LIO. So I thought I'd just add a little bonus stream in, and then we can oh, not that way. Then we can obviously carry on with some of the other aircraft and simulators we use. Receive messages. There it is. Print. GTA is flying along and flying. Excellent. MV says, have you tried flying the 330 in Microsoft Flight Simulator? No, I have not. And I want to talk about that when we get underway. And we shall. So remind me. As ever, all questions, keep them for the cruise, guys, or as we get climbing away. After I've hopefully remembered to set the thrust levers to the right place. Because, again, I'm always in trouble for my slow starts. Right. There we go. So Manchester information, Delta. Let me write that down. Delta, we're using 23 right. So, is that for departure and arrival? We'll find out shortly. What I might do then, I might just call up and get my clearance. It's not very clear, but it does say runway use 23 right. It's just normally there'd be a departure ATIS and an arrival ATIS, and I'm not sure. This looks like an arrival ATIS to me. Anyway, variable 3 knots, no clouds, lovely day, 8 degrees. QNH is 1029. Nice and high. Acknowledge receipt information, Delta. Right. Lauren V says, I've definitely heard this noise many times on many an airliner. Matteo is more MD-80 expert than I, but I'm sure it's the sound I've heard on Airbus. 73s, MDs, maybe 190s. Yeah, I think they're quite common, especially for aircraft that do these short turnarounds. But the brake energy on jet airliners is quite high. It's a bit of a pain when you can't tell your temperature, you know, and so it's quite a useful feature to have. Okay, this is using VATSIM El Bapino for the ATIS. That's how we get the ATIS on this one. We should be able to see the observation station leaving 23. Yeah, it should be. Hopefully it's all there. Right, that is time to get the clearance set. Let me check I get the right frequency, because we've got a delivery online, I think, in Manchester. Manchester, one of the most controlled airports ever, apparently. On that
Manchester delivery Swiss 8 Mike November, runway 23 right, Lister to Romeo.
Thank you again, Sebastian, for your donation. I really appreciate it.
The initial climb 5,000, I think, and squawk 2265. And just
Giuseppe's Gaming, good to see you. Thanks for coming. Giuseppe says, or Giuseppe, I should say, when would you actually use the brake fans? You'd use it as you taxi in, maybe for the turnaround if the brakes were significantly hotter. And by really hot, I mean, if they were going to be above 150 by the time you took off. So once they're below 100 on stand like this, you just turn it off. You don't need it. Let's see.
Swiss 8 Mike November confirmed.
I can hear that.
Thanks. That's correct.
Oh, there's a controller. Okay. Manchester, good afternoon. Jet set 258, stand 209, 320 NEO, QNH 1029. Request clearance to Olbia. That's probably a bit fast.
Sorry, 258. You confirmed call sign.
Sorry, yeah, I said that a bit fast. Jet set 258.
Jet 258. That's an interesting one. You are cleared to destination on December 1 runway departure, runway 33 right. The squawk is 5427.
Cleared to Olbia, Sandbelt 1 Romeo from runway 23 right, squawk 5437. And it's Jet set 258. That's the old Air 2000 / first choice one, but thanks very much.
Jet set, thank you.
Perfect. There.
Good afternoon. EasyJet 5.
Jet. I don't mind. Jet would have worked as well. Right. There we go. So let's set that squawk.
A320 requesting IFF clearance to Gatwick.
37.
Yeah.
375 4. That's set.
Easy 516. Can you
And
copy
let's
a
plug that
reroute?
one in. So 23 right.
Yes, EasyJet 516.
And
Easy 516 from Samba.
Samba
For
1
the airway
Romeo.
number 859. Only, then I failed. You are cleared to Gatwick on the Samba. 1 Roman departure, 22-3 right.
23 right. So there we go. So the 80s was right. There we go. That takes us out to Samba, direct to Honolulu, and then on our airways. Luckily, the airways all seem to load in. We had trouble recently, but yeah. So if you guys are following along, hopefully that route's worked out for you.
Sorry, could you repeat
There
a
it
bit
is,
slower
all the
for
way.
Easy?
So there's our departure
516.
and our squawk all done. Let's just make sure we get the right stop altitude for that. So here we go. Prepare for charts to stay on
No
the
problem,
screen.
just put it in the chat for you. Samba, number
So we're not doing
859.
this though anymore,
Only, then I
because
failed.
it's not used. We are doing the Samba.
Okay,
So here it is.
Easy 516.
Let's just go to plan on here. Check it's right.
By Samba.
We're going to take off.
Samba
A little bit of a right kink,
on,
as you can see here. A bit of an awkward one there. Must be to go around something. Samba, Tably. Down we go to Samba. 5,000 feet, stop altitude. And we can see down here, max 5,000. So
it's not a problem, don't worry about it. The squawk 5015,
feet is
your
in
car
there.
clearance is out for you to read.
get rid of that. We'll go to manage nav there. 5,000 feet. Got the QNH. Okay, we're getting pretty much getting there.
To Gatwick,
turn that
Samba,
up.
departure runway 23 right, squawk.
Thank you very much, Craig Holland, for your 5 donation. Really appreciate it, Craig. Very kind. Craig
thank
says,
you. Sorry
Evening
about
Captain, never get to catch a live
No
stream, but
problem.
watch the replays
Easy
like my
516.
dear man watches
Correct,
EastEnders.
correct.
Just a little thank you. Thank you so much, Craig. Really appreciate it. I'm glad you make it along for the replays. It's nice to know people still watch those as well. So yeah, thank you for coming along. Really appreciate it, Craig. Very kind of you. And thank you for your donation. And yeah, glad you made it along for the live stream today.
I'm on to 1 for Mike Juliet, hold position, come to the ground,
Right,
1
so
25,
there
bye
is
bye.
the so data and its flight plan secondary doesn't work. Radnav, well, there are some things we could use here. Again, the Airbus auto tune it, but the Mike Charlie Tango VOR is going to be
Square 2128, hold position, come to
the
the
most
ground,
useful to us.
11550, bye bye.
Because our first turns are based on it 3 miles, 5 miles, then a left turn. Eventually heading down to the Honolulu, so 11365. So let's put in the Honolulu VOR on the right. Yeah, we'll have to do some more radio navigation in that 737-200.
Manchester delivery, good
There's a
afternoon.
Radnav.
Ryanair 247 Whiskey at
Hold on,
stand
data in its flight
156.
plan.
Aircraft type
Secondary
Boeing
Radnav
737
in
with
its B.
information Delta, requesting clearance to
Plug in
Paris
those
Charles de Gaulle,
weights.
please.
We've got a bit less,
Sorry, Ryanair
9.9.
247 Whiskey, stand by, I need to
Relatively
reroute.
short flight, considering how long we've been doing them recently.
Stand by, Ryanair
3.7
247
takeoff
Whiskey.
weight. Wind component for this one.
Delta ready for
Done 26, ready for push and start.
Busy here in Manchester, always is.
2 sessions at once.
Wind component. What have we got today? Minus 14.
Delta ready
Oh dear.
Touch 47 Delta, stand, correction, contact the ground, 121.50, bye bye.
14 knot headwind today.
125 by 47 Delta.
There it is.
And who's the other station?
Easy 126,
So,
done 26, ready for push
Is
and
now
start.
done. All correct.
Easy
We've got an extra fuel to 3
1396,
tons, of course.
contact
Yeah,
ground,
final of 800.
121.50,
Also at
bye bye.
1.1 to get to Fiumicino. That's
What's
correct. 200 taxi. Could be a little bit more today.
126,
I'm not going to do single engine because we're going to 2-3 right, and it's a complicated little taxi, and I don't want to mess it up in Manchester. We could do in real life, but yeah, we'll do 2 engines for this one. So I'll give myself 300 taxi fuel. Perf then. So nice long runway. Flap one's our favourite. Flex 69 in these nice weather conditions. Put those speeds in. There we go. 213 clean. Transition altitude. It's going to be 6,000.
Ryanair 247 Whiskey.
There it is. And let me just check that. No, 5,000. What am I talking about? 5,000 transition altitude out of here.
Receiving, Ryanair
So we're
247
going to stop
Whiskey.
at the last
Ryanair 247
altitude.
Whiskey, 2 degree far
And something I must remember is the FMA still don't work because the auto thrust system has not changed over yet.
It might mess up your entire
So I
route.
need to be ready for the fact it won't flash leave a climb at me, which is how
A3
I made a mistake
Ryanair
before on my
247
last
Whiskey.
stream.
Yeah, it's just a Samba
Right,
from
good
Duty
stuff,
Right.
good stuff.
It'll probably
Just
be
jumping
Samba 1
into
Romeo.
the chat. You might use extra flaps
Samba
until
Rom
they patch the
Romeo,
changes.
Ryanair
Oh
247
dear. Is there already a problem, is there? Let me just quickly see. Does anyone else know? Is there a problem with the... yeah, we'll check out the electrical system in the cruise, certainly. Can't hear for the ATC. Okay.
Easy 516 requesting push and start for runway 23 right, please.
Let me put that back down. Hopefully that works for you guys. Just always difficult to send me the volume. Sorry, guys. ATC is louder.
Ground on 121.85, easy 516.
And the winds are done, Alexander Garfano. Yeah, we did them in the winds. Yeah, sorry about the volume there, guys. The transition altitude's 5,000 today. Yeah. So is there an issue? This is interesting. There's an issue with our cruise altitude in the tropopause. Let's have a look. Flight 370, tropo 348. No, that's fine. No, we can go above the tropopause, no problem. Andy just copied over the
right now, 247 Whiskey. Warm Romeo. Are there any other changes?
that's sim clearance. Yeah, just force of habit. Michael says, finally made a stream. Your video shoots have really helped me and allowed me to finally do VATSIM for the first time. Thanks. You're very welcome. Thanks for coming along, Michael. Thanks for saying so. Giuseppe says, careful with the flaps. Fly-by-wire just released a fix to revert the flap fix. Since the sim was updated, this means you're likely going to have half the lift. Ooh, right. Okay. Okay. Let's do a flap 2 takeoff then to make sure that works. Just a bit more lift out of it. We'll see. We'll just rotate a bit slower if it's causing us issues. Yeah, that's always the risk of these updates. Can't believe they fixed it so quickly. But there we go. Better. Okay, sounds better. HC is too low. Oh dear, I can't win. Let's try that. It's amazing. The sliders are just so sensitive. Okay.
Easy 90, stand by, I need to reroute you.
Standing by.
Hopefully that's worked. Yep, everyone's saying about the audio. So hopefully the audio works for you guys.
Easy 90, reroute anyway.
Right. Well, there's not a lot we can do about that now. That's going to make the approach more interesting than ever. So we'll definitely do a flat full, and then we'll just see if we can adjust as required. It's always the risk. I totally forgot that Tuesday was the day for the updates. Right, guys, give me 2 seconds. I'm just going to go and sort something else out, and then we'll be ready to go. So let's get that APU up and running actually before I do that. Right, APU's firing up. 1, 2, 3. APU coming online.
Sorry about that.
Disconnect the jetway. Close the cargo door. Right, be back in just a second, guys.
859 squawk 4614
EC 90. EC 90, that's correct.
EV 338 is ready to push and start. Gate 109.
Sorry, station call son.
Okay, we're back. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so it's time pretty much to run through our before start checklist. Get that AP bleed on, get rid of the ground power unit. Everything else is done on the overhead. That doesn't work yet. And we've obviously loaded up our iPads. And yeah, the electrical page now works. There it is. Look at that. APU generator's taken over. Turn off the ground power. Generators here are obviously offline because engines aren't running. They'll come later. We are indeed at Manchester. Glad you like livery. Vanraj, thanks for coming. And Ralph as well. Thank you for coming along.
247 Whiskey, you are cleared to Paris on the Samba, 1 Romeo departure, only 33 right. The squawk is 2504.
Okay, so time for our before start checklist. Copy prep is completed for both sides. Gear pins and covers removed. Get those signs on and auto. This still doesn't have its full range of motion, no, so that's in auto. ADIs are all in nav. Fuel quantity, we've got our 9 tons there, or sorry, 9.9, and it's evenly balanced, which is great. Takeoff data, we've got flaps 2, we'll see if that's enough. Flex 69, 25, 26, 30, and 213. And BARF, we've got 1029. So that's all ready to go. Let's get push and start. Jet set 258, stand 209, request push and start.
Jet set 2, so 258, using hold position, contact the ground, 121.850.
Hold position 121.850, jet set 258.
Wait.
Bye.
Just ground.
Here we go.
Ahead, I'll forget it off.
Back to Golf, yep, but the delivery controller's made a little bit of an error
Let's
there.
get the tug loaded up.
Are you able to accept the ECLAD 1 Romeo for departure?
Negative, because we
We've got a few flying along. Jonah says you can turn on the PTU in the fly pad. There we go. I didn't know that. I'll have to have a look at that. You can't hear it in the real airplane though, I must admit, but I know it was a very popular request. And MCM is waiting for us. Excellent. There you go. That's MCM, easy 338.
Hold position, call you back very shortly, and all stations stand by.
Oh no. Missed our chance. Love this livery, just glorious. I'm curious to see. Oh, look at those engines windmilling. That is interesting. That was strange. That was... What have we got going on in here? I don't know. Anyway, we've been told to stand by. There's nothing more you can do. When a controller says stand by, that means be quiet. You've just got to wait. There's an alpaca out there.
And contact the tower now, 118.625. Bye bye.
118.625. Bye bye. Thank you.
Is that an excuse? Can I talk now? Let's pretend we just tuned in. Oh, there's the Manta. 1 for Mike Juliet. I recognise that one.
1 to 1 for Mike Juliet. Roger. Taxi 100 point Mike 1123 right via Lima, Papa, Kilo, and Juliet.
Taxi 1 point Mike 1 runway 23 right.
Alexander Gaffano says, can you increase the cruise speed to your liking in real world? Not really. If you need to, you can if you're running late, but you tend to have to follow the company. Ground, good afternoon. Jetset 258, stand 209, request push and start.
Jetset 258, match ground, a very good evening, sir. Stand 209, push and start approved, face south.
Push out approved, face south, Jetset 258, thank you. Right, face south. Beacon on. Flash levers idle. Get that transponder to auto. And below the line, windows doors closed, closed and closed. Beacon is on, mobile phone's off, thrust levers idle, parking brake is set. Let's get ourselves underway. So the tug was connected. Let's see if I can make this work. Let's go reverse, release the parking brake, facing south, so knows it's going to go to the right, which makes sense really. And away we go. See if we can get that clock running. No, it's frozen. Oscar Lamprecht, thank you very much for your 10-year donation. Really appreciate it, Oscar. Always supporting the channel. Very kind of you. Thank you so much for a 10-year donation. Oscar says, just want to thank you again for all the effort. Love your content. Hope the hotfix isn't affecting the flight model too bad. Yeah, fingers crossed. I didn't see the update, but it was so quick, I suppose. It maybe only fixed the flap thing. But thank you so much for your donation, Oscar. Really appreciate it. And I may regret bothering with the stream if the flight model makes such a mess of things. That still, it's the perfect excuse, surely. But yeah, we'll have to see what happens with the flaps. We'll get a bit of a sense on takeoff and on the approach. But thank you so much for your donation, Oscar. Really appreciate it. Very kind of you. Maybe we'll treat it a bit like a flap 3. And yeah, thank you as ever for supporting the channel. We are indeed on VATSIM. Seatbelts are fastened, I believe. Yeah, thanks. Let me just see if I can get this. Always hard to judge that in this. Let's not spend too much time. Let's just do straight there. That'll do. Stop that. Set that parking brake. Tug can go away. There we go. It's really turning into a pretty complete simulator this now with all these. It's taken the community to get it there, but the amount of work that's gone into it. Starting up engine 2. We said we'd do both engines today. Start the timer.
Echo, Delta, Papa, Kilo, Juliet.
20 point Juliet 1, November Charlie, Echo, Delta, Papa, Kilo, Juliet for EZ1396. Thank you.
Stage collar push and start, stand by number 3, brake, EZ338 behind the passing company Airbus A320 right to left, stand 204, push and start is approved, face south. Start, wait for the company aircraft.
Right now,
yeah, hopefully. Thanks, Oscar. Yeah, hopefully that's true.
Right now, 247 whiskey. Stand
there we go. That's one up and running. Love it. Oh man, this is really making me want to go flying. It's been a while now. That's building up nicely. And what we can do while we're here, waiting for that, let's set up our fixed camera because they've added so many.
Tower 18.65.
We need one that can see that wing properly.
Right,
There we go.
Ready for push and start.
There we go. Right, that's a good start. Start the other engine. Engine 1. Here it comes. Giuseppe says, did you actually open the Microsoft Store to update? The update was via that. If you just launched Microsoft Flight Simulator without updating in the store first, you likely didn't update. So all I did was I have it on Steam. I have it in Steam, and Steam said, it made me nervous because it said it's updated, so I have a horrible feeling it has updated. I haven't done anything else, but yeah, Steam said, oh, quick update. Normally, after that, you go into the Microsoft Flight Simulator and it comes up with a loading bar for the update, but it didn't bother with any of that. It didn't tell me to do anything. It just said, so Steam told me it's updating. I opened it up and then it didn't say update or anything like that, so I don't know what's happened. Vladimir, good to see you. Thanks for coming along. AP says, isn't there supposed to be an update today? I've got nothing on Steam. Yeah, I think there was. I have a horrible feeling there was, but it was much quicker than normal. Fly-by-wire's already updated. Yes, Papa, good to see you. Thanks for coming. Yeah, I should have streamed at a different time. I can't believe I forgot that the 4 o'clock update happens. Yeah, mine had an update as well. Oh, man. Not looking forward to that now. Right, let's go. Has that started up? Okay, engine's looking good. Start the timer to that. Engine mode selected back to norm. APU can come off. Let's come down here. Arm the ground spoilers. Oh. Reset the rudder trim. Flaps to 2 for this takeoff. And let's just check our CG. Today it's going to be 29.2. Pretty much the usual sort of CG. A little bit nose down as ever, which I tend to find makes the Microsoft Flight Simulator handle a bit better. Oh, it did update to Giuseppe. Yeah, that's bad. That's really bad. We shall see what happens. I have not heard about the cat that caused a 737 to return. No, that is a new one to me. Right, after start checklist, anti-ice is definitely off. We don't need that. ECAM status is checked, all looking good. Pitch trim is set and the rudder trim is at 0. That's the after start checklist complete. Let's get out of here. Jet set 258, request taxi. Jet set 258.
Jet set 258, hold position, I'll call you back shortly.
Hold position, jet set 258. That was sort of a clearance, so we have to hold on to that one. I say hold on, I mean read back. Ibra, yeah, I'm live, but I'm on VATSIM, not on the Microsoft Flight Simulator servers. Corrosive Moon, good to see you. Thanks for coming along. Corrosive Moon says, any idea what's going to happen if you start engines and levers aren't idle? Yeah, it will literally, you'll start up and then it will spool up to wherever the engines are, the thrust levers are. That's why it's so dangerous. That's why we check they're at idle. It's got no protection against that. So it will just, if you start them there, then it would just, yeah, it would just ramp up the engines. So very dangerous. Good to see you. Thanks for coming along. Yeah. So guys, if you see any problems with my version, i.e. the flaps aren't working properly today, the fly-by-wire team apparently have already fixed it. So just keep that in mind, because it's yeah. So fly-by-wire reduced the lift on the flaps in some of the recent after the recent patch, and I suppose this means that they've fixed it now. So now there's not going to be enough lift. If it's by double, we shall see. I'll be really curious to see what difference it makes, actually. But I'm thinking we'll do a flat full landing, but it might look a bit like a flap 3. And we may need to increase the approach speeds. My plan is just to give myself a long final approach, and then what we'll do is we'll increase the speed as required, and we'll just pretend the flaps are stuck at 2 or wherever they may be. Victor Tango, I hope you're doing well. Thanks for coming, if I didn't say so.
Ryanair 247 Whiskey.
Hello, Van der Veen. Good to see you. Thanks for coming. There was a hot fix that fixed the flap issue. Yeah.
Whiskey, taxi hold point Golf 4 via Golf.
I suppose we're waiting for this traffic in front.
Golf 4 via Golf, Ryanair 247 Whiskey.
Let's get our head around the taxi plan. That could be an idea here.
Easy 338 ready for taxi.
So,
Easy 338.
we're here. We did 209. We're going to...
November Charlie Echo, Delta, Papa.
November Charlie, Echo, Delta.
Easy 338, yep, it's on point Papa 2 via November Charlie,
Papa.
Echo, Delta, and Papa.
Papa 2. Confusing taxiways here in Manchester. So, yeah, let's see what we get.
And they're on 258, you can continue, you can follow the EasyJet Airbus A320 ahead to holding point Papa 2 via November Charlie, Echo, Delta, and Papa.
Via November Charlie, Echo, Delta, Papa to Papa 2, Jetset 258. Good stuff. Good stuff. Tax light on, nose light on, clear on the right, clear on the left. Let's release the parking brake and get ourselves out of here. This overboosting is not a thing the real airplane does. So we just heard it. Then we're going to go along November Charlie. Then we'll take that right, following that EasyJet in front of us, which is yellow, I think. Then we're going to go left on Echo. Then we're going to go left on Papa. Then we're going to stop at Papa 2. That is a really complicated little taxi. That's why I wanted to have both engines, because I didn't want to have to start them up while we're doing that. So I'm going to get rid of the charts for you guys, but I'm going to have them up on my side anyway.
Taxi to holding point Juliet 1 behind the plane. Ryanair 247 Whiskey.
I'm struggling to coordinate that though. Let's get rid of that. Okay. Let's get the brakes a squeeze. You would do a brake check typically.
Seabird 250 with you, vacated 23 right at Alpha Echo, request taxi to gate.
Okay.
Easy 516, contact Manchester 118.625, bye bye.
There's our colleague.
Easy 516, contact Manchester 118.625, bye bye.
Lovely scenery, this Macco one. I gave it a review and I was very impressed with it. And it's nice to see it updated to version 1. We get this sort of lag, but this tends to be caused by having just so many airplanes. It's whenever I'm in a busy sort of VATSIM airport, I find this happens. Okay, remember Charlie now. All looking good. Then we're going to take the left onto Echo.
Manchester Town 118.625, Ryanair 274 Whiskey. 247.
Oh yeah, we have our thank you again to Andy. I need to send him a message back, but yeah, 320 Sim Pilot with our logo added and 320 Sim Pilot branded coffee cup. So that's all good news today. Very happy to see that. Check the road. The cars should give way. So on roadways in airports, the cars will just stop. You don't have to wait for them. They should stop as they see you coming. However, there are some parts of the, or some airports where that's less reliable than others. And sometimes they just don't see you, so you do have to be careful. Raw Paul says, what version of fly-by-wire do you have? We have the custom autopilot, so the most experimental one. So to be fair, I'm not even sure they've updated. Have they updated the custom autopilot version with this flat fix yet? I'm not sure. Anyway, I should have streamed about 2 hours later. That would have been a smarter thing to do. I totally forgot. I always expected, I thought because we had the UK update, there wouldn't be anything else coming for a little while. But I forgot they changed it round.
Ready for push and start. Easy 90, stand 1, push and start is approved.
Push and start approved, easy 90.
Speedbird 17 November, taxi.
Okay, so we are now on. We can see on this sign, that's Delta 3, so that's Delta 3 there. We're looking to go left on Papa to hold at Papa 2. So still following its EasyJet. There should be, I think we are, yeah, we're now on Delta. So I'm looking for a left into Papa. So this is Delta 3, so it's the next left. This EasyJet in front's doing very well because this is a really confusing taxi. It's quite nice to have someone to follow, although we can't trust them, obviously. Some airports will say, just follow the aircraft in front, and they won't actually give you the routing. They don't always. Let's do some flight controls. Full left, full right, neutral, full down, full up, neutral.
If you make a left turn onto Papa, that would be great. If not, you can continue following the EasyJet. It's made a bit of a wrong turn and hold short taxiway Papa 3.
Ah. Oh yeah. How funny. What went wrong there? Apologies, we'll follow the EasyJet Jetset 258. Yeah, we've done the same thing. Now that is possibly because this is closed. How confusing. Yeah, right. There you go. Just as I said, you can't rely on the one in front. I was pretty confident in what we were doing as well. So we're going to follow them left there, and then we'll get ourselves back over. controller's being very nice about it. So full left, full right rudder. Let's get the predicted wind shear to auto, TCAS to TARA, max auto brake and takeoff config. We're going left here with the EasyJet. Let's not lose sight of them because we're now relying on them. Around we go.
Easy 338, taxi heading point Juliet 1-way 23 right via Papa, Kilo.
We did well there. We pushed back within half an hour, so hopefully I get less complaints this time.
Say again, easy
338, it's heading point Juliet 1, runway 23.
It's just quite a long taxi. I forgot about that. Maybe we should have been at the holding point. Right, it's going to be a right turn here. So now we are going to rejoin Papa.
You can follow the EasyJet Airbus A320 head on to heading point Juliet 1-way 23 right via Papa, Kilo and Juliet.
Papa, Kilo, Juliet to holding point Juliet for 23 right. Thank you, Jet Set 258. Not sure what airline he thinks I am, but yeah, not Jet Set certainly.
Manchester ground, easy 90.
So we're following the EasyJet. So we're going to take Papa and then Kilo, which is effectively the outer taxiway over there. It's the second left. Kilo all the way along to which turns onto Juliet, or it becomes Juliet, and then we'll be set up for the holding point.
24, sorry to interrupt, ground. I just want to say there is an A320 sim pilot in here. I just want to say I love your videos, and thank you. I'm probably
oh dear, I'm going to get in big trouble for that one. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the shout out to whoever that was. Thank you. I won't answer on the radio because we'll probably get kicked off. But thank you so much. Right, this should be Kilo. There it is. Yeah, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Do emoji. Yeah, exactly. Oh, my simulator's struggling here. Yeah, I need to go and have another look at that taxiway. I think Delta looks like it was closed then. Yeah, they had some stuff parked on it, so Papa was actually the first sort of usable one, which would have made more sense if I'd noticed that.
Taxi to holding point Kilo 2 via Alpha Bravo Kilo, easy 73 Bravo Mike.
Thank you very much, Kai. I'm sorry if I get that name wrong. Bilota, I'm so sorry. Kaiki? For your $5 donation, really appreciate it. Congrats for everything. Cheers from Brazil. Is there a command for your PC specs? Or Microsoft Flight Simulator graphics config? Yeah, PC specs, exclamation mark specs. And my config is everything is set to high end except for windshield effect, which are set to ultra to try and get the reflections. Yeah, but that's all. So we're going down to Juliet to hold it. But thank you so much for your $5 donation. Really appreciate it. And thank you for your kind words. Right. Let's get back on track here. So Kilo, Juliet, and then we've been told to go all the way to Juliet 1. So we're just following the rest of the traffic now. Darian says 320 sim pilot red faced. Yeah, absolutely. These things do happen. I mean, they do happen, especially you know if you're just well, yeah, didn't obviously missed it. I mean, I didn't see the taxiway sign, but it probably was there. I'll have to go and have another look. Right, let's finish up our checklist while we sit here, so the camera crew can be cooled. Get them sat down. Otherwise, I think we are pretty much there.
Manchester radar, good afternoon, Mountain 14 Mike Juliet, maintain 5000 inbound Utuka.
We have.
Station calling, that was submitted on Manchester ground. You can contact the radar though on 118.5.
Oh, they swapped back, yeah. That's not tower frequency. We have tower next.
Apologies, 118.575, Mountain 14 Mike Juliet.
Corrosive Moon says, how did you do your name under the dashboard instead of the cell call? Can we get one too? So that was kindly provided for me by a viewer. So I'll actually ask them. Yeah, I'll ask them if I can give it out because they did the cup as well. It's just a modified texture. So yeah, I'll have a chat and see if I can get that for everyone who wants it. Yeah, good point. Harry says, did Air 2000 rebrand to First Choice? Getting the same vibes from livery. Yeah, they did indeed. They became First Choice before becoming part of Thompson and TUI. Adam, good to see you. Adam Azur, hope you're doing well. Michael Nolan, if that was you, thanks for the shout out. Don't hassle Manchester with anything else, just in case. We'll soon get ourselves into trouble with them. And I've already been in trouble on that sim before. So, yeah. But thanks. Very kind.
1 runway 23 right via Kilo and Juliet.
Lovely day. It's almost a shame to fly away on holiday today. Weather like this, although probably a bit cold out there. Is that 8 degrees? Yeah, 8 degrees, so not quite as warm as it might look. It should be a little bit warmer. Average temperature where we're going is about 12 degrees at this time of year. Right. Oh, I missed that. Is that for us? That's terrible. I hate when I do that to controllers who've been so nice.
258, contact Manchester 118.625. Enjoy the flight. Thanks for bringing the crew. Bye bye.
118.625, Jetset 258. You're very welcome. Thanks for handling us all. Thanks. Right, that is 118.625. That's good. That sounds like they like having the traffic, so that's nice. 118.625. There we go. We're on tower. I suppose probably on their screens this is a whole group of airplanes all trying to go exactly the same way. Let's have a look at that map. It's that map time, most certainly. Victor Tango's just got delivery of the Thrustmaster throttle add-on. Oh, the add-on! Oh, well done. Very jealous. You're going to be one of the first. I think we've had one more.
Foxtrot. Contact ground on 121.850, boy.
Right. So I'm at the back of our queue. We've got Easy in front of us going to Olbia. We've got Ryanair going to Dublin. We've got someone going to Hamburg, I think. Someone going to Paris. Someone going to Gatwick. Ah, that's not bad actually. This is a nice mix. Nice mix. Thick clouds and rain here, 100 miles south of such a sunny Manchester. Yeah, well, there we go. Well, we might find that things deteriorate when we get underway. This is live ATC using VATSIM. Indeed. OJ2 says, did you hear about the new 330 for FS 2020 and will you be flying it? So I heard about it. We've got a second here to say. You have to uninstall the A320NEO to use it. So I didn't do that. I haven't tried it. I'm definitely interested in trying it, but we've seen so many things improve with the A320NEO. So I don't want to. It's hard, it's hard to leave it at this point. Because I know you'd lose a lot of the features in the 330, but they've done an amazing job. I mean, the cockpit they had was really nice because they even had, they've modified the 3D model to match it. So I was really impressed with the cockpit models that I saw. Right, let's just rebrief ourselves. So you always do another brief as you're heading out. So there's our departure. We're going to head out and follow our SID, which takes us to straight ahead, basically. Then we're going to 3 miles, Mike Charlie Tango. Right turn for 274, then make a left turn around to Tabley. Not convinced this lateral nav is quite right. Tabley, then we're going to go 154 down to Honolulu, 58 miles by above 3,000 feet there, which we've got, and then down to Samba at 5,000 feet, and then further clearance as we go. There are some strange speed restrictions out of Manchester, which frankly are really, really bizarre. They want us to, if we're above 35 tons, you can do 250 knots to flight of 100. Well, that's normal. That's what we always do. Then they want 280 to 290 between 100 and 260. I have no idea why. London doesn't ask for that even. Although I suppose London has so many arrivals that they're all probably speed restricted by the arrivals they're on anyway. But certainly above flight of 100 in London, you can go faster. But there we go. It could be to do with the north-south flow that they face so much of here.
Line up and wait, runway 23 right behind on a 247.
There's some landing traffic. The landing gear is down. It just seems to not show up with the VATSIM and so on. Now this is a typical view. This is like the old days of 2019 view, sitting in a queue of airplanes. I'm surprised they're not dual runway today at this time of day, to be honest with you. That would be quite typical, but maybe they need another controller to open the other runway. Let's bring it to a stop. As everyone knows, you must watch an aircraft landing or taking off if you're a pilot. There they go, lovely. Jed says, is the custom autopilot on the unstable master builder custom fly-by-wire version on Git? No, if you go to the Discord, so a lot of people ask me how to get the custom autopilot, and I actually thought it would be in the installer by now, I'll be honest, which is why I made the videos with it. But if you go to the autopilot section of the fly-by-wire Discord, they have pinned it, so it's possible to download it yourself. But again, it's incredibly unstable. It often lags slightly behind with some of the features. So, you know, even if that, I don't know if the flap fix has been applied to it yet, things like that. Maximilian says, is the sim sound turned down? It is. I had it too loud earlier. Let's try and sneak it up. We'll find the perfect balance one day. 320 Sim Pilot Landing Judge Edition. Never, never. I'm not here to judge landings. That's certainly not what I'm allowed to do. Max says, I get a big nose down when switching the autopilot on using the current custom. I haven't had that, but I'm using the custom autopilot. We shall find out. I mean, if it all goes wrong, we may, you know, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Let's see what the fix has done. Kodeko says, do you get stage fright when you're landing and there's a queue of traffic watching and judging your landing? It's funny, actually. You try not to think about it, but when there's a big queue like this and the landing zone is right next to you, I mean, remember, often bigger, busier airports with this many airplanes typically have 2 runways, so you just a departure and arrival, so it's not that common. But yeah, it's a bit funny. You do notice that you know there's other crews and you know that I'll be watching. There's certainly not stage fright because, let's face it, there could be 200 people sat on the Airbus with you. And they're going to feel it. Not just see it. Okay, let's get terrain on. So let's run our checklist then. Before takeoff checklist, flight controls are checked, flight instruments are checked, briefing is confirmed. Flap settings, we've gone for 2. It's 2 in there and it's 2 on here. FMA and takeoff data, 125, 130. Climb nav, 152, 5000 is our stop altitude. And that's all looking good. Transponder is set to TRA and auto. And we've got out reporting on, of course. ECAM memo, takeoff no blue. That's it then. We're just waiting for the below line. Let's keep up with the queue. Tillman Richter, yes, if you're using the fly-by-wire mod, it should be quite straightforward to install the livery. It's just put it into packages community. So where you have your A320 in your packages community folder, it just goes in there. I've got to admit, the system for installing things into the sort of Microsoft Flight Simulator, the way it loads in these custom things is incredible. It's so easy to just have that one folder where just you put everything in, sceneries, liveries, aeroplanes. Really nice to use. And I've been very impressed with it, and it makes it very easy to update. I don't have to remember all the different routes. There you go, so Condor's departing. I just want to see the custom liveries. There we go. That would be so good. If we had like a line of Air 2000s here, that would be absolutely great. The Greek Badger says, why are you doing a Flaps 2 takeoff today? So I would have done a Flaps 1. It's because there is possibly an issue with the flap and the amount of lift. So we may get half the lift we were expecting because of a bug with the way Microsoft just updated this about half an hour before I started streaming. That's my fault. I should have remembered they were going to do that. So if that's true, then I've got a bit more flap out this time. But I may have to let the airplane increase its speed a bit. Strobe navigation lights are all in the same place. The strobe lights and navigation lights, one on each wingtip, so they're just there on the sharklet in that little clear box, and then again on the tail just under the APU, this little clear box here. Just gorgeous livery. Elias says, what would happen if during the cruise you lost vertical stabilizer? I heard it's a critical issue with the Airbus, though very rare. No, there's a checklist for if you lose control of the stabilizer, i.e. it freezes or it's jammed, then there's no problem. There's a checklist for it, and the Airbus is very clever. And in normal law, it will actually, you won't even notice that it's out of trim. It's not until you configure later on that becomes more of an issue. That's quite a complex fault, though. That's not something. Hopefully, yeah, it's very rare. Oh, we're getting all the subscriptions. Thanks for your subscription to Edward, to Tam, to MadGamer48. Thank you so much.
Easy 338 behind the departing Ryanair 737. Line up on runway 23 right behind.
Line up on runway 23 right. Easy 238.
Lauren V says, you say 200, but normally I think of the 320 as 150 to 180 seater, topping out at 189. Apparently that's FAA only. EASA certifies high volume exits, allowing 200 on the 320 NEO. Know anything about these? Yeah, I mean, no, to be honest, I don't know about 200 seat 20s. I always say about 200 because I think of the 321 that we fly, the Toliss, obviously. So you're right, this is realistically not going to have 200 people. So 300 of you watching are going to have to go in the hole, I'm afraid. If you are enjoying, by the way, do please hit the like button. It makes a big difference to the channel. YouTube loves it when you guys press the like button. So I really appreciate you coming. And if you are enjoying, that would be really, really well appreciated. Yeah, I'm glad real life doesn't have 4 o'clock updates as well. It's pretty much why, you know, people wonder why don't we just have, I don't know, these TVs updated to have a 3D map behind it, things like that. But you can see why with the software, it's just got to be so sure.
Contact Manchester radar 118.575. Bye-bye.
Let's get that frequency. That Ryanair knew what they were doing. They've been here before. So I've got 118.575 in the background there. We've got our checklist complete. Just got to go below the line. Let's just hope we've got enough flaps for takeoff. Big bar is Fly Live Studio. That's what I use for that. Ethan has a seat. Very good. Thank you for those likes, guys. Really appreciate it. As I said, makes a huge difference. Huge difference to the channel. Let's jump into our wing view. Oh, look at that. Glorious. I've set it to morning so we arrive in the sort of, hopefully the sort of afternoon, late afternoon into Olbia, just so we can see it as I've got the ORBX scenery. Thanks for the like, Stefan. Very kind. It's gone a bit quiet there. Have I changed frequency by accident or something? 118.65, that's us. Okay. 32, good day to you. Thanks for coming along. I was going to fly the Boeing 727, but decided that I need a bit more practice in case I got an ATC controller on the other end without sense of humour. Yeah. As long as you don't go to Gatwick. Google, enjoy your dinner. Thanks for coming. No, we won't see 4 sunsets today, Kai. Hopefully a bit less. Sim slightly louder. Yeah, so the problem is if I do that, the way I have it set up, you'll get louder ATC. So it's a balancing act now. Have I not? I haven't checked in, but often at these places you don't need to.
Aerom 258 Manchester Tower.
Manchester Tower, jet set 258 at Juliet, ready for departure.
Jet set 258, roger. Fly Juliet 1, line up weight, runway 23 right.
Fly Juliet 1, line up weight 23 right, jet set 258. There we go. Yeah, so he wanted us to check in. That's my mistake. Some airports, they don't like that. Right, lights on. Nose lights on. Below line then, cabin is secured, engine motor select can stay in norm. TCAS is TARA, packs are going to stay on for this takeoff. We are ready to go. Are you not meant to use toga on takeoff? I always just go full throttle. No, we can go 2 clicks forward. I must remember there's no auto thrust window, so I'll need to remember to bring the thrust levers back at 1,700 feet, 1,500 feet above the ground.
Thanks for the service.
You're welcome.
Look at this. We've got a little pub over here, all provided by the Macco scenery. Looks really good. And Manchester does have this sort of broken up taxiway at this point. Not sure why, but that's what they've got. There's the car parks. So this is this was a base for Air 2000. They did have Manchester, Glasgow and London Gatwick. There's another car park over there. Look at the graphics. Just madness these days. Madness. Now we're going to head up that hill. We're taking off basically on a carrier at the start of the Manchester takeoff roll because of the ramp at 23 right. Very famous for making landings more difficult. We can take off from this point because we have the arrows. Remember, the white arrows are okay. If it was the yellow arrows, then it would not be okay. So we can't land here. We have to land past the numbers or past the piano keys here, but we can take off from where we are. Bit of a queue behind us, says Lucas 52. Very good. Yeah, Lauren V. We sadly can't grab a pint as we go past. I hope these flaps work. That's the excuse, guys. If the takeoff goes wrong, it's the flaps. Trillium says, just came to learn the 320 NEO from your new website and saw you were live. Fantastic. I'm glad. Yeah, I hope the website is good for you guys. The link is in the description on brand new website. If you haven't seen it, 320simpilot.com. I've got a collection of videos on there for beginners.
258 surface winds are variable at 3 knots. Runway 23 right, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, 23 right, jet set 258. All right, let's go. 50%. Hold it on the brakes. Half side stick forwards. Release the brakes. 2 clicks forward. Right, it should say Manflex 69. We've got SRS. We haven't got runway, but we have got all thrust blue. It won't say runway. There's no ILS. Sorry, no, it should say runway, but it doesn't seem to do it in Microsoft. It doesn't seem to tune properly because there is indeed an ILS on 23 right. 80 to 100 knots, releasing that side stick to neutral. There is V1 and rotate. Let's do it gently just to give the sim a chance to cause us problems or not. There we go. Positive climb, gear up, and nav. It's trying to take us right. I'm just going to see how it behaves. Okay, let's follow it to the right. That seems pretty reasonable. And as long as it starts to come left, there it goes. There's climb. Let's bring the thrust levers back to climb. Lower that nose. Hopefully it doesn't dive down. Autopilot 1 is in. Above F speed, flaps to 1. Now let's see. Let's just see if we get any major issues. This will start to give away because we've now got not much flap out at all. Still climbing. Still got VLS nice and low. Just quite a high nose attitude.
Iraqi 125, Manchester, tell me with me.
Seems okay. It seems okay. Seems okay.
258, contact Manchester radar. 118.575, bye-bye.
118.575, Jetset 258, thanks very much. Here we go then, off to radar. Let's do flaps to 0 of S. There they go. That removes our flat problem for now. We'll deal with that again at the other end. Right, we're coming to 1,000 feet of our level off. Let's pull the vertical speed. Let's do 1,500 feet per minute. So there's vertical speed 1,500. And we are on the Samba 1 Romeo. There we go. Auto thrust is working. So it doesn't say speed. We know that's just because it's waiting. Manchester radar. Good afternoon. Jetset 258 on a Samba 1 Yankee. 1 Romeo, sorry, passing 4,400 feet, climbing 5,000 feet.
Jetset 258 Manchester radar. Hello. Climb now. Flight level 190.
Climb now. Flight level 190. Jetset 258. Up we go then. 190. Set standards. Let's check them here. Open climb. Out blue is in. 190. Flaps are at 0. Disarm those ground spoilers. Get rid of these and nose wheel lights. And away we go. Fantastic news. Yeah, the red EGT, it seems to have calmed down. That's a bug again. When they put their own auto thrust system in, these bugs should disappear, I believe. After takeoff, checklist landing gear is up. Flaps are retracted. Packs are both on. Barrier F is on standard. After takeoff, checklist complete. Let's get our outside shot of the climb away. Look at that crazy performance of these aircraft. With no effort, it's rocketed up here. And off we go. No, not a cloud in sight over the UK. What a day to go on holiday.
Jetset 258, contact landing control, 127.1, bye-bye.
1271, Jetset 258, thanks, bye. 1271. Kaiki says, oh, Kaiku? Sorry if I get that wrong. Bellotta says, is the red EGT indicators during takeoff normal? Or is it a bug? It is a bug. Yeah. It's because they're going to add their own auto thrust system, and that's why we're losing it, because this is custom autopilot, hence we're missing auto thrust there. So yeah, it should be fixed in a future update. But if you're using the dev version, you won't have the same issue. But thank you very much for your $5 donation. Really appreciate it. Thanks for supporting the channel yet again. Right, there's 10,000 feet. Landing lights can come off. We're accelerating. Seatbelt signs can come off. We can clear out the RadNav page because we don't need the Manchester VOR. We don't need the Honolulu VOR. Well, actually, let's leave the Honolulu VOR. It seems daft because the real aircraft would just have it tuned. It would actually appear here as Honolulu anyway. That's why we don't need to bother with it unless there's some specific reason. We can stop the timer because we've timed that. The engines are now back at climb thrust, and away we go. Now 1271. Let me check I got that right. London, good afternoon. Jetset 258 climbing flight level 190 to Honolulu.
Jetset 258, hello, climb flight level 370.
Climb up with 370, Jetset 258. Always a nice quiet time. 370 already. There's 37. Open climb up with 37. Okay, apparently flat full is where you see the biggest problem with the flaps, which makes sense. So, yeah, we'll do everything as normal, but I'm going to add a bit of extra speed, and I think we'll treat it like a flap 3. That's going to be my guess. Maximilian says, yes, the fuel flow and engine temperature are faked right now and are going to be completely redone once the custom engine model and all thrust is implemented. There you go. They're always working hard.
You'll get vectors from there.
After West Coast Bravo, November.
Nav lights are off. Yes, they are. There we go. You don't need them in daylight. So for this flight that's all daytime, you could leave them off. It'd be totally allowed. But yeah, I would typically have them on, despite that. So there we go.
Contact Manchester, folks, 118.575,
Please repeat, target 7 November whiskey.
Elias says, would you ever fly Boeing in future streams? Yeah, we've flown a Boeing. We've flown the 757 and the 737-200, and we will be flying those again. Got to get good value out of our add-ons always. Pavel Kostrov, thanks so much for your 500 ruble donation. Thank you, Pavel. Really generous. Thank you so much for being a long-term viewer and supporter. Thank you, Pavel. Pavel says, hi, Captain. Can't stop admiring your willingness to share your knowledge with us and our kindergarten. Stay with us as long as you can. Thank you so much, Pavel. Yeah, it's a pleasure. You've been, you're a part of the community that makes it so much fun for me. And it's all you guys, by the way, that give me the motivation to keep doing this. There's plenty of times where you guys have just encouraged me to do something. And that's why I've enjoyed it so much. And that's why we're doing this today. I just couldn't resist. I had to show you guys delivery. I knew there'd be plenty of people who wanted to see it. But thank you very much for your donation. Really appreciate it. Thanks for supporting the channel, Pavel. Very kind of you. Good afternoon, Shot in the Dark. Thanks for coming along. Stephen Malcolm, thank you for your £5 donation. Really appreciate it. Stephen says, landing excuses. The glide slope for 0.5 is 3.5 degrees. Yeah, see, we are sorted for excuses on landing today. Thank you, Stephen, for your £5 donation. Really appreciate it. Very kind of you. And, not only are you donating £5, you're giving me the excuses, which are just, it's just great. This is the sort of thing that I need. Yeah, so we've got the wrong sort of flaps. We'll be at the wrong speed, most likely, because the mod needs fixing, and or is already fixed, but I haven't updated it. And it's 3.5 degrees. I mean, how many more excuses do we need? So, although I think I have the replay that works, maybe I'll decide that it's broken today and I can't make it work. I've got that option. Right. Yeah, good stuff. Let's get that zoomed out. But thank you again. Thank you to Pavel and thank you to Stephen for your very kind donations. Really appreciate it.
London on 129.425. Ryanair 247 whiskey.
Jar Jar says, does anyone find the leather texture a bit overdone? Yeah. I agree. This is what it looks like, but it's not quite as rough as that. It's not quite as rough. I mean, it is nitpicking. It just seems to be when the light hits it at certain angles, it goes a little bit extreme. I can agree with that. But that is nitpicking, but it just seems to reflect the light so much that you notice it more, because it looks a bit more textured than I think it is in reality. But again, it's not still very much nitpicking. Have a bit of a drink, slurp, put it back. Lovely. There we go. I don't think we're still up there. I think we're a bit further south than that now. It's not really a long flight for our... Oh no, we're there. I forget how North Manchester is. But we're going straight up to cruise level, so that's good news for our flight time. Yeah, so the 737-200 was good fun. Yeah, I agree. I haven't flown the 737-800, Nathan, but I'm hoping that a couple more flights in the 737-200, then we can move on to the 800. Baby steps.
Lot 280, climb flight level 350, direct brain.
Window seats. Our resident engineer for Boeing and Airbus says, I really learned something earlier and cheated. Paddy, I created a square, slightly bent stencil. Well, window seat has been working on new liveries along with Paddy, so yeah, we got a few talented livery artists here. Of course, this one is Paddy's livery, but then they're up there. I mean, there's loads of liveries to use. We recently used Air Tours, so we're just fitting in with those. But yeah, Window Seat's been learning and doing a great job as well. I think the window seat's done another Air Tours / My Travel combo crossover, which is basically how I saw them. I basically never saw a fully painted My Travel aeroplane whenever I flew with them.
Jet 338. There's no one made
Dr. Darren Naher says, I'm approaching excuses already. I'm impressed by your level of preparedness. That's it. Yeah, you've got to be prepared for these things. You can't make an excuse below 1,000 feet, and certainly not after landing.
Hey, Sam, there's no one ATC for you, so continue on Unicom. Bye-bye.
Jar Jar says, oh, is that us? Oh, that's terrible.
Unicom 8643, descent to altitude 4,000 feet.
Jar Jar says that it's the normal map texture reflection. A bit over the top, they'll probably fix it. Yeah, I suspect so. In some lights, it looks absolutely fine. I think it's just when the sun's beaming on it. It has that effect.
Good afternoon, Speedbus 540, passing shuttle 140, climbing shuttle 190 on heading 350.
Spirit 540, hello.
MCM says, sorry about Manchester. What are you sorry about with Manchester, MCM?
Direct Wellington and climbing shuttle 250, Speedbird, correction 230, Speedbird 540.
Whizgo 2065, leave, Abbott heading to 20 degrees, 260 degrees, cleared ILS 05 at Luton on that heading.
Oh, he's doing Luton approach as well.
That's 25, the wind's 02 at 5 knots if you're happy with that.
Let me double check that, but we'll leave Abbott heading 260, go.
Whizgo, the UK branch of Wizz Air, I believe.
Thank you, and after Abbott, I'm closing shortly.
Ethan's Aviation says the 737-800 should be easy once you get comfortable with the 200. Yeah, I'm hoping so. I've just got to learn a new MCDU or FMGC or FMS or whatever it's called. However, you know, we do the
338, no ATC in the next sector now, so continue on Unicom.
Sounds like we'll be on Unicom soon. Yeah, it's... I'm hoping the 757 will mean that I have some ability to fly the 800 FMS.
Good evening, gravity to
that's my hope.
Copy, Yankee 2406, hello, I'm closing shortly, I'm afraid, so continue on Unicom.
Oh no, there's closing as well.
Scandinavian 805, there's no one with ATC for you, so continue on Unicom. There's no Gatwick director, but there is a tower.
MCM is easy 338. Yeah, no problem. No, nothing to be sorry about.
Upline 158, descent flight level 7.
I'm just waiting for our call. I think he's going to hand us off very soon to Unicom. Yeah, I'm getting nervous about that approach speed. Hopefully we've got enough spacing, because the planes in front of me, only one aircraft in front was going to the same place, so hopefully we won't end up in the big queue. Those of you who watched the stream to Kalamata will remember we had a massive queue of traffic, including an A380 on top of us.
Ball 06, Luton Tower is on a line. If you call when you're established to him,
let me have a look.
132.550, good evening.
They've got some good spacing, because they did do some spacing here, so I think we'll be alright.
Calling when establishing on...
Oh, so this is London, who is doing a whole sector, goodness me.
Easy 2 night, continue on Unicom, good night. Unicom, thank you for your service, good night. Yeah, Channel 1322, continue on Unicom, good night.
Down to Unicom, Channel 1322, thanks for service.
Lot 280, contact Maastricht 135, decimal
Sky 173, good afternoon to you, thanks for coming along.
Contacting Maastricht on...
Andy says, plenty of us in Discord speak fluent Boeing if you want a hand with the 737 FMC. Yeah, that will probably be the case when it gets to it. Ardyman says, Captain, do you use SimBrief? Can you walk through how to read that? Yeah, I do use SimBrief. I don't have it set up so I can show you SimBrief. Unicom, thanks for your help. Jetset 258, bye.
Right, and all of the stations I'm closing now.
There we go. Unicom it is. Bit of peace and quiet, so I can probably turn up the aeroplane audio. But again, I'm nervous of getting that wrong. But yeah. So, Deep Future. Wow, thank you very much for your 10-year donation. Really appreciate it, Deep Future. Deep Future says, love your streams. Thank you for doing them. Greetings from Ireland. Greetings from Ireland to you. Thank you so much. Really appreciate the donation. Very kind of you. Thank you for contributing towards the channel, and I hope you're doing very well, Deep Future. And I'm just, it's always appreciated. I'm really glad you guys enjoy these. Because I love doing them, especially when, what I like is, I make the videos, but making the videos, which is great and it's satisfying and rewarding, and I get to see the nice comments when people have learned something from them, or it's helped them, most importantly. But it is nice to do the streams because I get to actually interact with you guys and chat about aviation. I learned so much in these streams as well, all these tips about things I didn't know were coming out, or how to use something. For example, the hot fix for the flaps thing today. But thank you very much, Deep Future, for your donation. Really appreciate it. And thanks again to Pavel for yours. I hope you're both doing well. MCM says my taxi skills. Oh well, no, I'm in terms of the taxiing at Manchester, I'm gonna have to. I'll have to go back and have another look at that. I don't know. So in the scenery, it was all filled with stuff. So I don't think it's a used taxiway, the one that we missed. So I didn't see it as a taxiway. So I was looking for the second one, and I was looking at the signs, and I saw Delta 3 coming up. So I'm not entirely sure what happened there. So I'm going to have another look at the scenery and the taxiway and the charts and see what happened. But I never saw the sign for Papa. I was completely convinced you were going the right way. So no problem at all. No problem at all. Chidham says, can you please add a list of mods you use to your site? Would be very helpful. Okay, yeah. Yeah, mod list specs. Maybe I can add that to... I could add that to... the about page. That could be a good idea. Thanks for that. Yeah, really good idea. That is a really good idea. Window seat likes delivery. Yeah, it is good, isn't it? It is really good. Something about it. I totally agree with the marketing team who came up with it, which is it's designed to make you want to go on holiday and feel like you are on holiday. And remember, this was 1990s, so to go for these bright colours, it really stood out. They used to have Air 2000 before this was a red and gold livery, which was also really nice, but it just looked like an airline. It didn't look like a holiday company. This was designed to look like you're going off and, they're selling the feeling of going on holiday now. That's what they wanted you to think when you saw it, and I definitely get that. Just lovely. So great to see it in this simulator. I use a generic checklist, Kodeko, which I think may be on the Discord. Good point, though. Good point. SimScott 185. Thank you for coming along. And yeah, I agree. Childhood memories. That's why these liveries are so much fun, aren't they? I have not flown to JFK, Dave JR. Sorry, nope, that's not happened. Might happen soon. We have a plane in the Azores ready to go, the 21 NEO. And now we have access to some extra sceneries, thanks to ORBX. We should have a chance to get ourselves over to JFK in X-Plane. I don't know if they have JFK, but we'll find some scenery on the East Coast we could head over to. Dr. Darian says, nice, but a pain to maintain. This livery, you mean? Ooh. Outstar, there it is. I don't think we've ever got the TCAS to successfully show something. Window seat says, it's on my progress of worked on aircraft, the old red and gold Air 2 Bob. Ah, fantastic, Outcruise. Yeah, Air 2 Bob. I have spoken to a pilot who used to work for Air 2000, and they refer to it as Air 2 Bob as well. Outcruise. Let's hope to see that engine spool back. They are slowly coming back. Come on, slow down. Set that TCAS 2 below. Let's do a systems check. Engine. Bleed. Pressure. Elec. Hydraulics missing. Fuel working. Do our fuel check. What have we got? We've burnt 830. We've been going for 1.5. Oh no, that's since I loaded in it. I was going to say. We've been going for an hour and 15. Yeah, not bad. 9 tons plus 800, so 9.8. So yeah, that's pretty much what we set off with. APU is off. Conditioning, all looking nice and cozy at 23. Wheel, flight controls. So that's all good. Let's have a look at the electric page. Yeah, so seeing the old Air 2000 livery would be nice as well, the red and gold. But this Tapestry is definitely, as I said, one of my absolute favourites. Easily. Really nice. There you go. Gemlin says, if you look at the Manchester taxi charts, the taxiway that is blocked off only has taxi lines to enter from the runway side only. Let me have a look at mine. Oh, I see. Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting one. So we ended up going Delta then Charlie, yeah. Yeah, very good. Again, you know, in real life, not only would it be much clearer because you're not looking inside, you get a view outside. The person taxiing the airplane is always looking outside. They're not going to be heads in like we have to be at the same time. Plus the fact, oh, there's that looks like Heathrow to me. Go to airport. Now we're up here. Oh, it's just showing us EGTV. Anyway, I'm pretty confident that is Heathrow. So that's London. There's the Thames. Yeah, somebody would be looking outside. Plus, you'd have a better idea and brief it. So I mean, in real life, you never end up taking a taxiway that you can't see the name of outside. So yeah, it's not very common. You know, people do get the wrong taxiway in real life, but yeah, not like that. That wouldn't have happened in reality. I would fairly confidently say. Window seat says it's getting done. I hope similar standard of that. Very good. I look forward to it. Nick T says, is the 320, 321 qualified for crossing the Atlantic? Well, we're in the Azores, so I reckon we can get a 321 NEO. But yeah, they could cross the Atlantic, I'm pretty sure. I mean, the A318 does, but again, it has to be certified because they can do ETOPS. Dr. Darian Naho says, yes, the livery is hard to maintain. Polished ones are even worse. Need 3 times the maintenance compared to normal white. There you go. Yeah, I can't imagine it. I mean, you don't see them these days, polished livery. Everyone just paints the airplanes white. Probably, yeah. Well, I mean, for maintenance costs and so on. Yeah, this one's just lovely. You're going to hear me say that about 30,000 times throughout the stream. So we can just warm up about how much I like the livery. So let's see. Is there a nice view for this? There we go. Right, the electrical systems. This now works, which is amazing. I might do a little video on it. Although we have some other stuff ready for videos as well. Got a lot of work to do. So this is the electrical system. This has been added. Yeah, this does now work. So you've got generator 1, generator 2 providing 115 volts. It's not showing a percentage load, so they would normally, and they don't tend to show the same percentage either. But when you are on the ground power or the APU, those generators do display correctly now, which is great to see. So what is the electrical system in the 320? Basically it's AC. You've got 2 AC generators providing all the electrical power plus the batteries in case of emergency, along with the ram air turbine. So this is what we look at on a normal day-to-day, although like I say, there'd be a percentage load, and as I said, not completely even. So the generators run off the engine. So the engine's spinning, obviously. We've got fan blades in those engines, and some of those are connected to the gearbox. And that gearbox is why we have this, it's called the accessory gearbox. Again, window seat will know far more than me. It's why we get this sort of bulge in the side here on the cowling, because it's outside the engine. That's the engine fan, then it goes through, and then there's the core inside there, which is actually really thin. And then you've got this gearbox on the outside. So through all sorts of clever systems, goodness knows how they work at the speeds they have to spin at. There's a gearbox, and that has a hydraulic pump built with it, and it's got the bleed air on it, and it's got an electrical generator. So what happens is the generator spins, which is how we produce AC electricity, because a spinning generator would typically give you AC. And then we are... Now, I'll stop saying anything else about that, because electrics is a really hard topic, and one I'm not particularly... I'm not knowledgeable at that at all. But yeah, so there's one in each engine, of course, and that's it. There's just one. And they're actually driven by the IDGs, which I think is going to be in integrated drive generator. Ooh... That's a good one. Anyway, that is on the overhead panel. That's this red thing here, the IDG. So that is how they can generate things. You get a generator and then it's spun by the IDG. These are guarded because when you disconnect these, the generator I can turn off and on. I can turn it off. You'd get an eCam in real life. You can see it's gone off there just to prove it. And now you can see generator 2 is just feeding both sides of the system. I'll talk about that in a second. But the IDG, if you press that, and I'm not going to, that's that. It comes off once and then it's disconnected. And it can only disconnect while the engine's spinning, but it's guarded red because you must not do it by accident, especially in case of a generator. A spinning engine can do DC as well, it just needs a rectifier. There you go. I knew I shouldn't talk about it too much. Cross the Moon is just asking, is this what England really looks like from it when you're in the air? The sim just adds a few patches of grass and fields. I know they use satellite imagery, but still. Just quickly, before we go back to me embarrassing myself about electrics. Yeah, England is pretty it's pretty well represented. It's just lots and lots of fields, and then you've got your built-up towns and lots of fields. In some parts of Europe, you'll see lots of rectangular straight line fields. There's Gatwick. It's cruising over Gatwick, heading out for our holiday. That could be, is that Farnborough? But yeah, so it's got lots and lots of fields that are all these sort of random shapes. So that's quite, yeah, it's pretty typical. Pretty typical. I can't complain about the scenery. Window seat says the Pratt & Whitney has the IDG in the hot section under the thrust reversers. Oh, there you go. So the IDG is in the wrong place. I even named it in the wrong place. I knew I shouldn't have said this. Window seat says the IDG can only be reconnected on ground via a pull pin with a keyring on the side. There you go. Yeah, I knew it couldn't be done in flight. That's why they're red. So once you press that, you'd lose that generator's ability, and that's gone. You can't get it back until you're on the ground. And did we get an answer? Window seat, what does IDG stand for? Integrated Drive Generator. I got it right. Yes, fantastic. Right, so this is a lesson that nobody asked for, but still. And I might do a little video on this just for the people who also didn't ask for it on the channel. As there's only 400 of you to enjoy this lecture on the electronics by someone who doesn't know them. Yeah, so the IDG uses, you know, it can get hot. So it actually, the oil in the IDG goes through a heat exchanger with the fuel. So the fuel, there's no fuel temperature shown here, but we get fuel temperature for each of these tanks shown in the real airplane. And it gets cold during the flight. But what they do is it gets circulated through the IDG. It doesn't actually mix. It's just a heat exchanger. And again, window seat will correct me for what I got wrong there. But you can see the IDGs run very hot, so they're 103 degrees. So that heat gets transferred into the fuel. So it heats up the fuel, which is a good thing, and it cools down the oil in the IDG, which is also a good thing. But sometimes those heat exchangers, you know, they can get a bit wrong. But yeah, that's typically how it works. Is battery voltage correct now? Oh, good question. Yes, I didn't even notice. Because I didn't do cold and dark. Yeah, look, 28 volts. Far too excited about that. But yeah, it looks like the battery voltage is fixed. Fantastic news. Yeah, amazing work. Amazing work. Right, anyway, so each of the generators supplies, this is a bus bar. You can see it like this because the bus bar is a way of, you take the power, you supply it to a bar. It's a bit like a big plug extension. You know when you have you put a plug in the wall and it has 4 plug connectors on it. That's what a bus bar is in simplified terms. So the bus bar, that's where all the systems are plugged in. So various things will be plugged in here, like, I don't know, maybe one of the windshield heaters is on AC1, the other one's on AC2. And they'll be divided up very carefully. It's an incredibly thought out system so that if one side fails, you've still got power. So as you can see, each side is powered by its own generator, except side 1 is having to also power AC1 and the AC Essential bus bar. So the AC Essential is what will stay active even if you lose all power. We'll talk about that in a minute. We've got AC2. So these are the 2 main bus bars. Then the really important stuff will be on the AC Essential. And then you've got the transformer rectifier unit. So these rectifiers take AC and they can turn it into DC power. And that is given to the DC systems, the DC bus bars, which have the DC systems connected to them. And batteries are obviously charged via DC. You can't use AC. So AC is alternating current, DC is direct current. This is, again, the extent of my knowledge that I remember from flight school. Domingo Da Vinci, good to see you. Thanks for coming along. I'm glad you made it to another stream. Thanks for coming. I'm sure I'll see the viewer numbers go right off a cliff after I start talking about the electrics in this detail. But there we go. Window seat says the IDG is sat under the fan cowl on the LEAP, hence the bump on the fan cowl, which I believe is perfectly modelled in the sim. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, they have the bump. I must say I don't notice the bump on the real airplane as much, but you tend to stand really close to it, so you don't get such a clear view of it. So I've got no reason to say it is or isn't accurate. But there we go. DC, in it goes. And then the batteries can be charged from the DC battery bus bar. Right, enough of that. So what happens then? Let's turn off a generator. Not the bleed. Generator 1 can go off. And now... there we go, generator 1's off. So generator 2 can simply supply both bus bars on each side. It's that easy. It's really clever, automatic. If you lose a generator, no big deal. But you'll see galley shed come up. They've done a great job here. So galley shed, what happens is, although it is supplying both sides of the electrical system, it loses a couple of systems. So the galley, so if you're cooking food, I'm not sure exactly what it is, depends on the setup of the airline as well, but you know, you'll lose kettles or ovens, things like that if you've got them on your airplane. So that's why you get the galley shed message when you go down to 1 generator. Not a big deal, but that's what happens. So what we could do now is we could start up the APU generator. Now we can't start the APU, we're a bit high up, but yeah, if you say you dispatch with one generator broken, which I believe is possible, pretty sure I've done it at one point, what you'd do is you just run the APU the whole flight, because you want to have that second generator ready just in case. Because now if generator 2 fails, then we're into a problem. If we lose generator 2, we'd be into emergency electrical config. But if we had the APU generator already available, then we wouldn't be. We'd still have power to power the whole, the rest of the system. So there you go. So they've even modelled the galley shed. Likewise, if Gen 1 was on and Gen 2 went off, it would simply cross over and feed that side. If we lose both of them, or both engines fail, then what we would get is emergency electrical config, where you'd have DC essential, DC battery, AC essential. That's all that would stay online, these ones here. The rest of it would go. And the emergency generator will power this circuit, and that is the ram air turbine that falls outside. So even if you lose both generators or both engines, the system's powered by that windmilling generator that can provide hydraulic and electrical power. That is an incredibly simplified, hopefully not too inaccurate system description of the electrics. Window seat says on Boeing, galley shed is auto on engine start for max power to start the engines. You get an ICAS message when it comes on. There you go. None of that on the Airbus. It all just does it for you. Right, let's get that generator back on just to prove it. There you go. Generator 2 off, and it just swaps over, does it the other way around. Incredibly good system. Let's have them both on. And you can see there is a bus tie up here. Now, if you watch my video, it's done in the Toliss, but I've got a video on the emergency electrical config. It's a complex failure, but I've got a little video where I talk about this. The bus tie is what connects both sides. If I turned this off, you can separate the two sides of the system, but then you wouldn't be able to power one side from the other one. But I'm not going to fiddle with it now. I don't want to mess it up. I'll do it for a video. But yeah, that's what the bus tie does. The APU generator is always on, but you can turn it off. It used to be off when Microsoft launched this, but we never turn it off in the real airplane. Why would you? It's just on if you need it. And there's the external power, obviously. Commercial and galley, these you could turn off if you want to lose electrical power in the cabin, for example, to save load, or if you're thinking that there could be smoke, something like that, you might depower certain parts of the airplane. And there you go. Handy how this system, you can see, represents the same thing. It's got the tie, it's got the generator, the green lines. It's clever stuff. They really thought about it when they put it all together. This livery is available. Link in the description, Edward. Link in the description, absolutely. Flighter says, please start the APU for an experiment. No, well, you can't start the APU up here. You need to be a bit lower to start it. You can run up here, but you shouldn't start it. Domingo Da Vinci says, I sell embedded systems that go into a lot of simulators, not deployed like the A320. So hearing you talk electrical engineering is music to my ears. There you go. Well, I hope it wasn't too inaccurate. Windows seat will have a better idea about that. But yeah. Nathan says, what do you like about Boeing that you wish Airbus did? I like their descent arc that shows you where it's going to level off. Although it's a little bit reactive. The Airbus one's a little more stable. That's quite nice, and I quite like the moving thrust levers. I'd like to see that, ones where I could adjust them if I need to. I think that would be nice. Jonah says, can you activate random failures? Good question. I do not know. There we go, out over the channel. Making progress. So weather in Olbia, very nice, 14 degrees. High pressure there as well. Light easterly wind, landing onto 0.5. I don't know if the rat has been added, Jar Jar. I don't know. That's why I want to make a video with it, because it's I want to test a few things. It's possible. I doubt it's an actual 3D model though. The APU, I mean, I don't know if it's optimized for lower altitudes, but for starting a jet engine in really thin air, because remember, it is just a jet engine, is not ideal. They're not really set up to be started up here. Harry says, hey, I've reworked all the exterior lights. Fantastic. Was that added? Because I'm running on a version, I downloaded it this morning, but yeah, I'll have to take a look. I noticed the beacon was reflecting nicely on the sharklets. Oh, we're getting a bit of turbulence, I think. Yeah. I mean, the lighting's been fantastic for a while, but yeah, look at that. Strobe's looking nice. There's the beacon underneath. Just great. And these beacons are really bright, really bright. They are warning lights effectively for ground crew and so on, so they've got to be noticeable. Nick T says, in what situation do you need to turn off the bus tie? It's rare. The time I know of that you'll turn it off is if you have an issue. Let's say the electrical system loses power to both AC bus bars. It could be that one side is broken, but it's because AC, you know, they've got to be synchronized and so on. It could be that it's upsetting the other side. So you might disconnect it and then try and reset the generator separately in case it was one side tripping up the other side. That's the one time I know off the top of my head. I'm sure there's others out there, but yeah. Harry says, you have them, it's in dev/experimental. I've got the experimental custom autopilot as well. But yeah, no, they look great. Nathan says, does the ram air turbine work and actually come out in this mod? I don't know. That's a question I don't know. Olski says, what's your point of view whether to switch the packs off for takeoff or not? Yeah, well, these days, you know, with coronavirus and so on, it's nice to have air in the cabin. But a lot of airlines turn the packs off as routine until the pandemic. Yeah, it's completely routine to turn them off. And just done a great job on this. I like that. Really nice, really smart. And that cup. Time for a drink. Coppermine says, do you ever use Track AR face track with the Airbus? So I've used Smooth Track before. Did a little review on that. That works quite well, but I don't use it on streams. No. It would work with streams probably because of the freeze button, but I just have so many programs running, and I mean I have, let's see, I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I've got 8 applications open at the moment. So I don't want to add another one, especially one that uses network. However, whether it make a difference, I doubt it. And I have used it on a stream before. I used it for a DCS stream, so I have used it, and it was very good. James Cooper, good to see you. No problem for missing the start. We've been streaming. Yeah, this is quite close together. This is a bit of a bonus one, as I said, to use this this excellent livery. James says, sorry I missed the start. Have you seen the new EFB ground functions? Oh, no. Do they work now? Because I know they were there, but they hadn't worked. But I use the pushback helper, which actually includes doors and so on. And so maybe I wouldn't notice so much. But it's possible I don't have the latest version as well. RoboSky says, the rat doesn't work yet as that's being done as part of the hydraulics. Ah, of course, with the hydraulic power coming from the rat powering the emergency jet. Of course. Yeah, there you go. That makes sense. So what RoboSky is talking about, as ever, the fly-by-wire team's technical knowledge is excellent. So the ram air turbine, we're going to need to go to the overhead panel, and I'm going to struggle here. Right, there's 2 ways to deploy the ram air turbine. We've got emergency electrical power man on, which you can press here. And you've also got the rat man on up here. Now, this is a good question. Basically, to turn this on, you'd follow the ECAM to use it. You can see it's a very guided switch. But the point is, exactly as RoboSky says, it creates electrical power with the same pump using the hydraulic system, or using the hydraulic pump in it. So it's connected to both the blue hydraulic system, as you can see up here. Ratman on does blue. It replaces that electrical pump. But if you press the wrong one of these on, and I'm trying to remember which way around it is now, it doesn't matter because basically you don't need to know this because you're going to follow the ECAM and do it properly, or the checklist, the QRH checklist. But I think there's one way around where if you press it from one of these, you won't get the system you're looking for. It's possible, I think, that if you press the electrical one, you won't get the hydraulic pump, or if you press the hydraulic one, you won't get the electric pump. One of those. So it's important you press the right one. That's why there's 2 different switches to power the correct thing, either the hydraulics if you need that, or the emergency electrical. Now it is automatic in the emergency electrical config situation, don't worry, but yeah, there's one way around. You've got to get that right. Ollie says, what specs are you running on now? Exclamation mark specs. There you go. That'll bring that up. i7 10700 and an RTX 3080. 32 gigabytes of RAM. The RAM is very important for Microsoft Flight Simulator. It really makes such a difference. NASA says, what is hydraulics? Can you explain it to me? Hydraulics. Yeah, goodness me. This is turning into a real technical day. Hydraulics are pressurized systems of fluid that are used to turn things. So if you were sitting in this airplane and you were connected with cables to these flight controls like the elevator, it would be very heavy because the air's going over them at 400 knots or whatever, and you wouldn't be able to pull it because it's just your arm strength basically that would try and pull. And imagine trying to pull the weight of all the air pressing against this big piece of metal at the back as you try to pull up or down. So it wouldn't work. Same for landing gear. What's going to power the landing gear? How can the landing gear come up? Electrical motors are too slow and weak. So hydraulics is what we use. What we do is you get very thin lines. They're amazingly thin, and they are pressurized to incredibly high pressure. Very dangerous. Again, window seat will know more about this. And then by using that high pressure, you can, if you put a small input in at this end, you can move a large thing at the other end. So the system can just ask for landing gear, and then it can use these thin lines. It's amazing to push that landing gear up into the hold. So that's the same. So on the Airbus, hydraulics power a lot of things. They're used to power the landing gear, the flaps. Those are the big two. Big hydraulic draw on those. But also the spoilers, the ailerons, the elevator, the rudder, all hydraulic. Now the rudder is connected with cables, unlike the ailerons and the elevator, but that's a whole separate topic really. Goodness knows if that's right. I think that's about right, roughly. Nice West says, I worked for Airbus Hydraulics back in times. There you go. We got an expert on board. Window seat says, if you're really in a rush and you press the wrong one, you drop the masks. I've seen so many go to deploy RAT and almost drop the oxygen mask. Oh yeah, dropping the oxygen mask. Yeah, easily done that. I'll show you why. The oxygen mask button is this one, mask man on, and this one is man on. Look at that. Very easy to do. They look exactly the same. OJ2's enjoying it. I'm glad. NASA, you're welcome. Jed Sithel says, did your sim experience help or hinder you when you trained to become a pilot? Any simming habits you had to overcome? That's a great question, and that's a really good way to think about it. No, because I didn't do much flight simming when I was learning to fly. I did when I was growing up, but I didn't have any habits, because when I was growing up I used to just fly. I'm sure I did have some habits that I wasn't aware of, but I just flew any airplane. I never flew them really accurately, and I didn't have proper setup. I just had a joystick. I didn't have pedals or anything like that. So, I didn't train much when I was growing up. I just played Flight Simulator, and I used to do flights with the autopilot just for fun, and I flew the Airbus a little bit. Didn't know what I was doing with the Airbus, certainly at the time. And the Boeing and the 747, and just used to, all the usual stuff, just fly around St. Martin and stuff like that. So when I went to learn to fly, it was so different, it didn't really matter. But I can certainly see your point. Like, it's important that you don't, if you're going to learn to fly, you don't want to spend all your time at home learning the wrong thing without realizing. Yeah, it's an important thing to think about. Elias says, how do you deal with hydraulics failure? Well, in fact, incredibly similar to the electrical system, the hydraulics issue. If we were to lose a hydraulic pump, there you go, engine 1 pump, the PTU, power transfer unit, will automatically power that system from this pump, and vice versa. You can see the arrow goes both ways. We can also power the yellow system via an electric pump, which could then power using the power transfer unit, the green system. And we've got a blue system, which is powered by an electric pump here, which you can turn off. Also supplied by the RAT if you need it. What you can't do is if you lose fluid in a system, so if the pipes leak, you can't then do it. So if we lost the fluid in the green system, and this isn't modelled yet, but if you lose the fluid in the green system, then the engine 2 pump can't then power the green system because there's no fluid. You need the fluid to power it. So if the pump goes, you're fine. If you lose the fluid, that's that. You've lost that hydraulic and the things attached to it. But the big surfaces, the primary flight controls all have backups. They're all powered by at least 2 systems, and some by 3. It's very good. Window seat says, I changed the yellow hydraulic accumulator yesterday, and it looks like a 2-litre water bottle that I inflated 1900 psi of nitrogen. Dependent on the temperature, it's always scary replenishing. My goodness, yeah, the pressure is incredible. I mean, let's face it, we know that the it's not, as I said, it's not modelled, but if we went to the hydraulic page, this would be running at 3000 psi. 3000 psi. It's ridiculous. The air in my bicycle tyres is running at about 60 psi. That's the difference. It's 3000. The aeroplane is pressurized, but it's going to be about 8 psi, the pressure in the airplane compared to the air outside. Like 3000 is just off the scale, and that's how it can power those big surfaces. That's interesting, window seat. Thanks for that. Yeah, really interesting. So the accumulator, what window seat's talking about there is, as well as the pumps, there's an accumulator which we have down here. See, it says acupressure. I'm so sorry, everyone. I hope this is what you were hoping for. So, right, this little system here, this shows us the accumulator pressure. So, if we lose all the hydraulic pumps, but we don't lose the fluid, so for example, this is talking about the yellow accumulator, what will happen is we can use the pressure stored in the system to apply the brakes because there's residual pressure. But when it goes, it goes. So this accumulator needs to stay topped up, so it should stay in the green band. If we lost our pressure in the system because we lost the pump, as long as we have fluid, we can still apply this accumulator to squeeze on the system. So if you lose your braking, for example, you can use this accumulator instead and use it a few times. It's just a backup in case you need it. This is showing you your brakes pressure. This is a separate thing. It's not, well, it's not separate, but it's not using the accumulator. So if you lose, whatever reason, your normal braking system, you end up looking at this panel because you have to monitor these to see brake pressure being applied, and then you see your accumulator will go down as you apply the brakes. So you only get a few applications. You can't just keep repressing them. Konari, thanks for coming along. Says, I have seen a video of live AGC where 330 had blocked static ports and so had no reliable airspeed altitude indications. I heard them talking about the GPS altitude. What's that? Good question. Data, GPS monitor. There it is. GPS altitude 37,000 feet. So this is not based on pressure. It's not based on anything. It's based on your GPS position. This is the airplane listening to all the satellites that are pinging out data and using it to work out where it is above the planet Earth. So it knows it's 37,000 feet. So there you go. It's not what we fly with, except if we lose our static information. Yeah, but it's a nice backup to have. And modern aircraft are designed so that if you lose your normal pressure systems, which would be your air data, so see it's on norm, but let's say, so I'm using air data 1 on this side, let's say it completely broke and air data 2 broke and air data 3 broke, then we would have the option to use this. It would still give us some idea of the altitude. It wouldn't give us an idea of the speed. What we'd use for that is we would use the angle of attack indicator. So remember, fighter jets will fly primarily using angle of attack. They don't fly using airspeed like we do in the airlines. So yeah, that modern Airbuses, including the NEO, have what's called a BUS, a backup speed scale. But this is getting too technical now. I think I'll stop. I think I'll stop. Santiago Perez, good to see you, and I'm glad you're enjoying it. Ed Hassam, you're welcome. Thanks to join the tech talk. Okay, okay, you guys enjoyed it. Wind Dragon, Van Raj as well. Oh goodness me, you guys are liking it. Excellent. That's nice to know. Niceware says, my thesis topic was about autonomous taxi with both engines off using hydraulic driven gear motors. Now that would be great. Yeah, why we have to have the engines on to taxi? It seems that they're not designed to push you around on the ground. They're designed to do this. They're designed to sit at 38,000 feet and push you along in minus 60 degrees, not sit at 30 degrees on the ground. Yeah, so that'd be really good. Jonathan L is enjoying the live stream. Oh, great. I'm glad you're liking it. Ethan says, I came here for the sim, but this is even better. Very good. Glad you're enjoying it. You're welcome, Konari. You're very welcome. Hacked in says, why am I getting crashes unloading to desktop? I do not know, I'm afraid. Checkpoint likes the new Honeywell font. Yeah, the fonts are looking much nicer in this mod. They've done a great job on that as well. Ali says, what's the difference between KTS and KPH? So KTS would be knots, KPH would be kilometers per hour. So knots, knot is a nautical mile per hour, which are bigger than kilometers. So 200 knots is faster than 200 kilometers an hour. Selikin says 3,000 PSI is about the same as air and an aqualung. Very good. Windows Seat, thank you very much for your 10-year donation. Really appreciate it. And there's the pair, number one fan. Thank you, Windows Seat. Well, it's great to have you here for the very kind information that you're able to provide. So thank you. And yeah, thank you for all your support on the channel, Windows Seat, and for being part of the community. But thank you so much for that donation. Really appreciate it. Very kind 10-year donation. Thank you, Windows Seat. As I said, Windows Seat, our resident Airbus engineer, been such a help on Discord and all sorts of places with information about the different systems. So thank you very much. Very kind of you. Oh, and Andres, 10-year donation. Thanks so much, Andres. You guys have been far too kind. Andrew, 10-year donation. Thank you so much. Andrew says, thanks for all you do, mate. I'm addicted to your channel and made my Finnair pilot friend join me. He has over 20,000 hours logged with A320. Good job. That's great. Thank you so much, Andrew. I'm glad you enjoy it. That's really great to hear. And it's always an honor when, well, when anyone comes along and watches the channel, but it's great to hear there's other pilots who enjoy it as well. So thanks so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you for your donation. Very kind of you. Very kind of you. Yeah, you guys are far too generous. Yeah, very kind. So thank you to Andrej and thank you to Window Seat for taking the time and for donating. Maximilian likes the technical stuff as well. Okay, very good. Envy says more interesting than school. Curtis Moon says, what happens if you lose all speed indicators or have unreliable speed readings on both PFDs and the backup? Yeah, so that's where you get into the bus. Now the bus is not there. On older aircraft, you didn't have a backup speed scale. So what you would do is you would ignore all this information until you knew it was reliable. But if it wasn't, you could then set pitch power. And we have paper manuals that tell us, so you know they can't go wrong. They're paper manuals, and they give you pitch power for the descent, for the leveling off, for then flying down the approach. And it gives you the weight and the flight level you're at, and you can work it out. So what you'd have to do is very accurately fly the correct pitch on here and the correct thrust setting here, because Airbus has all this information. They collect so much data when they test these airplanes. So that's what they would do. Yeah. But in the NEO, we have what's called a backup speed scale. It's actually a button that should be, I think it's down here. Yeah, it's actually missing. So I've just noticed it should be here. It's reversible in the NEO. But anyway, what that does is it gives you GPS altitude and it will show you your angle of attack effectively on the left here. Yeah. But it doesn't quite show it as an angle of attack. It just shows you a green area and you have to just fly in the green. So if you're slow, you'll be low and in the red. So you have to accelerate. So you add a bit of thrust, put the nose down to get it green. And then as long as you're flying level, you'll know that you're at the right speed. That's what the backup speed scale does. Yeah. There you go. Canary says 1 knot equals 1.852 kilometers an hour. There you go. Yeah, quite a big difference then. Almost double. Wow. Ladbound says, nothing wrong with some highly technical discussion. I figure I'll pick up something to use on a random failure in the Toliss. Yeah, well, the Toliss has so many great failures modelled. Yeah, it's very good. Logistics says, why do you have so much viewers? Yeah, great great question. We're very lucky, though. And thank you for all the viewers. If you are enjoying it, do please hit the like button. As I said, it makes a big difference to the channel. What's our airspeed? We're doing 255 knots. True airspeed, though, much faster, 446. Rosa Moon says, one of my friends told me it's the worst situation to be put in, having unreliable speeds. They dread that sim session. Yes, unreliable speeds is, you know, it's a complex checklist. And the biggest problem with unreliable speed is that it's easy to misinterpret the checklist. And, okay, I don't want to say easy, but it's a very unnerving situation because we look at the speed for everything in civil aviation. As I said, military guys are used to angle of attack, but we're not. So we like airspeed. So once you've lost that, people want to rush through the checklist to get. They want to. The temptation is to get through it quickly, to fix it. You want to fix it. You want to jump on the first one you think is right. The big problem with unreliable airspeed is this. Say I'm sitting at this speed, and I look over here, and this one is sitting at 240. And I look at here, and this one's sitting at 240. Which one's accurate? This is where we get into the big problem. Because I have one that's saying this speed, but I have two saying 240. How do I know which one's accurate? Well, I can't just assume that because these two match, they're accurate. There could be two failures on these two. All I know is they aren't matching, so there is a problem. So what we have to do is resist the temptation to just sort of ignore this one and go with these ones or anything like that. And we have to go through the checklist, and it's a long one. It's a really complicated one. But it has the ability to sort it out. And it's very powerful checklist as long as you follow it properly. But yeah, it's harder than it looks. The other thing to consider is this isn't actually from an air data computer, whereas this is. So this is supplied directly from the pitot. This is just the backup. Air Data Computer 3 also gets this information, but it converts it. So when I swap the captain to Air Data 3 like that, ADA is switching. So now this is coming from the Air Data Computer number 3. it could be slightly different to this one because this is just using the raw data effectively, whereas this is going through the air data computer that accounts for pressure and temperature and all sorts. So yeah, so it is a big checklist, and the worry is, what if you can't figure out which one's accurate? Well, then you have to do those pitch power tables we talked about, which is time consuming and difficult to fly, because you could be sitting here looking at almost, you know, not much useful information, trying to fly an approach using literally, you know, you're not flying based on your airspeed, you're flying based on a power and a pitch setting and trying to keep it balanced. And imagine doing that in windy conditions, you know, that could be tough work. Ethan's Aviation says, isn't an onboard fire the worst thing? Well, yeah, uncontained fire is obviously very bad, but there's a long checklist for that as well. Ryan Videos 94, thanks for coming, says, hello, Easy 90 behind you. I can just see you in the distance. Excellent. We're cruising on pretty fast today, so hopefully we're not holding anyone up. Giuseppe says, how long would it take for the battery voltage to start dropping if you don't turn any generator on? I'm trying for science, but it isn't budging. Well, quickly. If you're sat on the ground with no generators, no APU, and you just turn the batteries on, even just on the ground with the systems that they supply, it would, you know, you can see that battery voltage drop, yeah, pretty quickly. You want to get the APU on. I mean, if that happens and we're sat there and for some reason there's no GPU, we want to get that APU on without too much delay, certainly. Yeah. So you'd see them dropping within a few minutes. Mr. Espresso says, what kind of failures have you experienced in real flying? Are they common failures you experience often? No, the Airbus is very good. But things I've seen, like I said earlier, I've had a generator failure before. Bird strikes, those happen to people every now and then. But actual failures to the airplane, sometimes some system might fail. Usually it's one of two systems, so you just lose your backup, or the primary goes to the backup and then you just carry on and fix it later. Yeah, typically. Dr. Darian says, any protections on backup flight law? No, if your ADs are off or confused, then you'll go into alternate law. So what you don't want, so there is an issue. For example, what if these speeds all went to 240? They all went to 240, but I'm sat here with 2.5 degrees of pitch and 80% N1, let's say. And the speed just starts reducing on all three. What would you do then? Well, I can tell you what the airplane would do. If the speed kept reducing, the airplane would eventually put the nose down, because as long as they all agree, it doesn't know that they're wrong. So that has happened. We all know instance where that has happened, because let's face it, if it's an icing issue, then yeah, if they all agree, the airplane will think they're right, and that's why you could get, for example, either the angle of attack sensor or the air data getting confused. Now, the airplanes have been modified and so on to account for this, but what you would do in that case is you'd need to turn off 2 of the ADR computers to ensure that you have control of the airplane, and then you remove the protections by doing that. So if you turn off the ADRs, you can get rid of the protections and fly it properly, just in case the airplane is confused about its actual speed. What if these airspeeds started increasing, you know, and it starts to pitch up, even though we're sitting here at 2.5 degrees, 80% N1, but that speed just starts going up and up and up, you know, and they all match? We could have that same problem. So these are things you have to be ready for when you fly these aircraft around, I suppose. Joe Stone, glad you made it. Thanks for coming. Window seat says 20 to 30 minutes you'll be down to like 19 volts. From experience, there you go. Window seat's always got the answer. Victor Tango, thank you so much. Victor Tango has donated through the Streamlabs way. Thank you so much, Victor Tango, for your $20.95 donation. That's incredibly generous, Victor Tango. Very kind of you. Thank you so much. Victor Tango says, thank you for your great stream. Always fun and informative. You're very welcome, Victor Tango. Thank you. And I really appreciate it. Thanks for being a moderator, and thanks for being a part of the community for so long. Really, really, really appreciate it. And thank you for that donation. Very kind of you. Very kind of you indeed. I hope you're doing well. And yeah, Victor Tango's used the Streamlabs, so if you don't want to use Super Chat or it's not available, then Streamlabs is also an option. I had a few people ask me if I could set up the Streamlabs donation, so that's why I have that. But yeah, thank you so much, Victor Tango. Thank you for that donation. Really appreciate it. And thank you for taking the time to come and moderate and watch all these times. 463 of us out there. Goodness me. I hope you're all doing very well. Thank you for watching. And again, if you do enjoy it, do please press the like button. NASA says, when I try to use the autopilot heading, it doesn't work because I don't know my heading. Can you tell me how to see my heading in the A320? Oh, wrong button. Oh, wrong button again. Okay. So, you can't see your heading, but you can. Your heading is the yellow line. So, 16, what's that? That's 160, 165, 170. So, that's 163. My track is the green line or the green diamond. So, I'm just going to pull the heading, and there you go, 163. And now I get a green line, which is my track over the ground. But the heading is now shown with that. Actually, the heading selection is shown in the blue triangle. So if we move it, it moves. And the actual heading is the yellow one. And then push it back for nav. There we go. Sadakin says, nautical mile well over 6,000 feet. More than statute miles, 5 to 80 feet. Should we go back to teaching all the older units in schools, especially the ones still in use? Yeah, it is funny, isn't it, that we base everything on nautical miles in aviation, which is just how it is. But yeah, so that's why when you fly over a VOR, if you're at 6,000 feet, your DME as you go overhead will say 1 mile, because that's 1 nautical mile away. If you were 12,000 feet, it would say 2. Which is why they never get to 0 in my tracking video. BWilk87 says, thank you for your passion. Been considering a mid-career change to be a pilot. Honestly inspired by how much you know and have my first flight with an instructor coming up. Thank you. Wow, amazing. Well, I hope you enjoy it. And thank you so much, BWilk. Thank you for coming along to the channel. And that's really kind of you. Thank you. That's great. I can't imagine. I mean, I'm chuffed to bits. I think people can be inspired by watching me talk like this. It's really kind. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming along to say so. Joshua E says, love your videos, man. Have any idea when the US live stream is coming? Thanks, Joshua E. Yeah, so don't worry. This hasn't delayed the US live stream. I just wanted to use this livery in its natural habitat of a European holiday. So I don't know exactly when, but soon enough. Yeah, soon enough. We plenty of streams to come. So I need to get that airplane over to America. Just need to choose a destination and figure it out, really. Sky173 says, would it be possible to hand fly a plane like this by feeling without computers? Yes. Yep, the computers can effectively, that you can end up in direct law where you move the side stick, it moves the flight controls, and that's that. And that's what it does. So that's sensitive. It's more sensitive than we're used to. It's not as comfortable as using normal law, but it works. Yeah, it works. It's definitely possible. OJ2 says, would you get an airspeed disagree? Yeah, you would, as long as the airspeeds disagree and they aren't all wrong in the same way. Nathan says, if you could fly another commercial aircraft, what would it be? Well, there's a few I really like, but most of them don't exist. 340, 600, 757, there'd be nice options. But the A380 as well, A350 was really nice after my little flight with it, so there's lots to do. Just Bjorn says, I really miss that they didn't put the rat in Microsoft Flight Simulator because I like to challenge myself with some failures. Well, I'm sure it'll be added eventually, knowing the fly-by-wire team. Dr. Darian says, what confuses me is what if all 3 indicators agree? How are you supposed to realise they are? Right, so that's a great question. That's where you've got to be paying attention, I suppose. That's why we monitor things. What if I was sitting here like this, but my pitch was at, let's say my pitch was at 9. Let's say my pitch was at 9 degrees. I mean, it probably couldn't get that high. Maybe it's 7 degrees. But the speed was here at 0.78 and the altitude was level at 370. What's wrong there? Well, my nose is too high. So something's wrong. And if I'm level, and I don't know, maybe my altimeter's wrong. Maybe I'm actually climbing. Could be one problem. Maybe my speed's wrong and I'm too slow, but the speed looks right. So it's just about judging the parameters. And that's why pitch and thrust are your 2 ultimate resources. I know in the cruise I'd be about 75 to 80%, 2.5 degrees pitch, and then I'll be safe. That's what I expect to see. So if I don't see those 2 things, if I see 40% N1 but I see this on my PFD, I know there's a problem, and that's why it's important we keep an eye on these things. Yeah, that's what monitoring is really, and that's what pilots are there for. Because you're right, the computer may not realize. Now the modern ones are very clever and they may have other systems to detect things like that, to be fair. Adam, thank you very much for your 50-sec donation. Really appreciate it. Adam says, it's amazing how much knowledge of all parts of the aircraft you have. You explain it very well. Have you been an instructor? That's very kind, Adam. Thank you very much for your donation. Really appreciate it. That's really generous. Thank you. And thank you for your kind words. What should I say? I'm going to say I won't say whether I've been an instructor or not, just to help keep some privacy. But thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, that's very kind for you to donate, and I'm glad you're enjoying it. I must admit, I've never talked so much on a stream. I'm struggling with my voice now. Okay, I'm back. Had some water. Rosie says, interesting that the 737 isn't on your want to fly list. Concurs quite nicely with the flight system's hatred for the 320 series. Yeah, there you go. They're probably too close to each other in terms of category. That is funny, actually. Yeah. AC455 says, be careful this flight. I heard another flight had to divert because a cat attacked the pilot. Oh dear. We'll keep an eye out. The door's actually closed at the moment, so she can't come in. Dr. Darin Naho says, thank you. So basically this looks about right, Lord. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you've got to pay attention to these things. If I was in a descent and my pitch was down at -10, then there's probably something not quite right. Harry says, whereabouts are we? Great question. We're not there. We're way down. Not too far to go, really. Just passing the halfway point. Apparently there is a freeware 321-200. Yes, there is, but I don't think it has all the updates of the fly-by-wire just yet. Valorant says, after getting your CPL, what are the common routes to build flight hours? In Europe, you don't need to so much. You can go straight to an airline job. It's America where you need to build up your 1,500 hours. I don't know. The American system is amazing, but it's different. So I think people do all sorts of jobs or just pay bit by bit while they do other jobs to get their hours up, or they go and do a little job for a small airline. Sorry, not like a smaller outfit, single engine stuff, things like that. Fly24, good to see you. Thanks for coming along. Fly24, the genius behind the music. You see, this channel is made up of many parts. We've got engineers, we've got talented livery artists, we've got scenery builders, we've got musicians, we've got thumbnail designers. So it's a sum of many parts. So thanks for coming along, Fly24. I hope you're doing very well. And yeah, Olbia, yeah, it's in Sardinia. I've got that written down in front of me to make sure I don't get it the wrong island. It's not Sicily. Ninja44 says, in your cold and dark video, it said 320-200 on the FMC or FMS. It's called the FMGC. We're pretty close. Although it was 320 NEO. Yeah, yeah. Good question. Really good question. I can't tell you what it should say, actually. That's a good point. Yeah, I'll have to have a look next time. Good spot though, Ninja44 with an accurate spot there. Laser says, if your right engine shut down and you can't use it, which side will fall, right or left? So if I was to turn off the right engine now, then the airplane would turn to the right. This wing would, you know, dip, and the airplane would yaw that way. This wing would lift up because of the yaw, and it would start banking to the right. But the Airbus has a yaw damper, so it would actually counteract most of that, and it would end up just sort of flying along with 5 degrees of bank. It's a real non-event. We're not going to try it now. I do have a video on engine failures on takeoff if you're interested, and engine failures in the cruise. But basically, we will just use the pedals to keep it straight, or the autopilot will. And there's Axeman. Is it true that the ultimate crew is one man and a dog? Man feeds dog, dog bites man if he tries to touch the controls, auto all the way. Well, we've just discussed, I suppose, some scenarios where it may be important to have us sitting here to touch things in the flight deck if we need to. Nice where it says FMGCE soon. Oh, goodness me. Yeah, I'm not up to date with that. Baker Mario says, we'll have to take the 727 to Sardinia now. Yeah, very good. AFC455 says, effectively, the 320 NEO is a 320-271 or 251. Yeah, there you go. So it is still a 320-200 variant. Yeah, version. Dr. Darian Naho says, opinion on the A350 auto emergency descent with auto speed brake descent and auto TCAS. Sounds amazing to me. Yeah, I don't see why not. I haven't used it, obviously, but yeah, nice feature to have. Will Masters, have you seen the video of the cat in the light aircraft? It's different to the 737. The reaction of the pilot is priceless when he sees the cat sitting in the wing. Oh, I have seen that one. Yeah, that's great. That is really, really great. That poor cat. Because that one's an open cockpit, so the cat comes out of the wing and it gets blasted with the air, and you can see it complaining loudly until... I don't think the guy hears it. I think he can just see it. It's a great video, though. Darren says, SimPilot, heads up. I had a problem today with the approach mode. Selected, then manual speed, entered. Then return to managed mode. The fly-by-wire ignores this change and overspeeds. Yeah, okay. I noticed that earlier in a little test. So we may have to select the speed or ultimately use manual thrust. I haven't flown a glider, Roby169. No, I'd love to, but I haven't flown a glider. What's the fastest accelerating aircraft you've flown? Ooh. Hard to know. I mean, airplanes aren't known for their acceleration. I haven't flown any fighter jets or any powerful aerobatic airplanes like an extra, I suppose, so probably nothing exciting. The Airbus is probably one of the fastest accelerating I've flown. You forget that well, it's easy to forget, I find, that these aircraft are incredibly powerful, fast machines. They are really amazing. They are not slow, you know, compared to general aviation. They really zip about. They're just fast machines. Ethan says, is it true you never turn over the dead engine? Oh, I'm not sure what that means. Dr. Naho says, problem with only one cat is you care about all cats. Yeah, exactly, yeah. As it should be, as it should be. MCM's flown a Hawk in the UK. Wow, now that's cool. I'd love to do that. Amazing. Pole 9, hey there, good to see you. John Padfield, hope you're doing well. Thanks for coming along. Window seat's got the answer again. A320, the 2, and then 5 is the engine rating of the engine from the top of my head. There you go. There's always a logic behind it somewhere. Thomas Gray says, did you do A-levels and do you need them for becoming a pilot? I did A-levels. When I did them, you didn't need them 100%, but the chances were it would make you more appealing for an application. And for some of the airline cadet schemes, it was required to have A-levels or equivalent. But I don't think it's not required. You can get your license without A-levels, but it'll be harder for the airline cadet schemes. However, do check that with other people. I'm not sure what the current rules are. A-levels would be a really good thing to have, just to show airlines that you can learn. Nick T says, is it difficult for pilots to control the stick not using their dominant hand, and how about the transition from FO to PIC? It's a change, but you know, I've said this before, so sorry to those of you who heard it before, but yeah, when you're learning to fly, you start off using your left hand to fly and your right hand on the throttle, then you'll swap over when you're a FO, then you swap over when you're a captain. So no, and some pilots in the Airbus can be rated to fly on both seats, and most aircraft actually, it's usually training captains, that sort of thing, do that. So they might go one day from left hand seat to the right hand seat. It's fine. It's fine. Jenna says, your voice is so calming, perfect for audiobook. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, as I've said before, this is turning into a bit of a podcast / radio show the more I do it. Roby says, why are there 2 autopilot buttons in the Airbus? When is it required to use autopilot 2? Well, usually the pilot flying will use their side. The reason for that is autopilot 1 is using this information, and remember, these screens aren't duplicates, they show their own information. So if the other pilot's flying, you use autopilot 2, and you'd put the transponder to number 2 side, so it all matches up. That way, their flight director is being followed by their autopilot. If I use autopilot 1, if they were using autopilot 1, their flight director might show something else from what the autopilot's doing if there's a slight discrepancy. We use the second autopilot when we're doing an ILS approach, because you can engage both at the same time and they back each other up, and that's also how we auto land. Pol 9, thank you very much for your 49 donation. Really appreciate it. Very kind of you. I hope you're doing well. Thank you. Thanks so much. Pol 9 says, if I look, oh no, Pol 9 didn't say anything, but thanks for coming along and thanks for your donation. Really appreciate it. I hope you're doing well. Pol 9's been supporting the channel before. Very kind of you. Ryan Videos 94 says, what runway are we looking at for landing? It's going to be 05, I suspect. Thanks so much, Pol 9, for that donation. Very kind of you. 5 €49. Really, really appreciate it. Kai says, make an aviation audiobook. I don't know. I mean, it's amazing. I love that you guys can stay so interested in this. That's why I really enjoy it, because I can promise you there's no one else I can talk to in my family that will listen to any of this. Bacon Warrior says, sometimes I think I'm listening to the A320 podcast. There you go. Right, guys, what I'm going to do is hold your questions. I'm going to go for a quick break, and then we'll get set up for our arrival. Now we're just passing over the halfway point. So let's give you a nice view of the airplane on the outside. It'll be just a 5-minute break, so we'll be back very soon. So do please stick around, and I'll put the timer up on the screen. If you could watch the airplane for me. Let me see if I can get the timer. Let's do 50. Can I get that to work? Fingers crossed. Hopefully the brake music is a little bit quieter than it has been in the past. I'll just reduce it a little bit. Right guys, I'm going to be on a quick break. Then we'll be back very soon. See you very shortly. Hello, hello. Welcome back. Let me do that. There we go. I hope you're all doing well. Thanks for sticking with us. We are now going to start getting ready for our descent. Live music in the cockpit. Yeah, absolutely. I hope you guys had a nice break there. Stop listening to me talking for a few minutes. Let's see. Yeah, I haven't tried the A330. The livery is eBoss. Thanks for coming, by the way, eBoss. Good to see you here again. And it's by Padday again. Link in the description to the video. What I'll do again now is I'll plug my website, www.320simpilot.com. And please visit it if you want to see a collection of my videos for the tutorials, but also the reviews, the store, the liveries if you want to use the custom Manta liveries that we have. We've got 3 on there at the moment. That's up there and available, and it's just a little website just to give a bit of organization to some of the videos. ARob920 says, I've seen in the video you were able to get both autopilots to work together on an ILS approach. From what I've seen in the fly-by-wire, this is not available. How did you do that? That's because I have the custom autopilot experimental version, which is why we have a few bugs. Envy says, what did you do at GCSE to become a pilot? So GCSE, for those of you who don't know, it's a UK grading system. It's the exams you do when you're 16 years old, roughly. So for my GCSEs, well, I basically did all the usual that we sort of had to do. So getting maths and physics in there was something I did, yeah, as well as a few others. Hi Andrew, hi Fusion, thanks for coming back. OJ2 says, has a passenger ever brought an instrument onto your plane and starts jamming along at 30,000? Well, I haven't seen it, but they could have happened in the cabin, I suppose. But I haven't seen it. Arthur says, hi, I'm the guy who created the top of descent calculator in the EFB. In case of any questions, let me know. Very good. Thank you so much. I did a little video on it the other day. Let's go to it. Performance. So, what we can do is it's automatically set to 3 degrees. So for your first descent, I think this is the best way to do it. We're at 37,000 feet, or we can synchronize it. And target altitude is going to be the altitude at the airport we're landing at. So what I'm going to do is just unpin some charts. Let me get the charts up for where we're going. Guys, please remind me to replay the approach. Now, again, I'm a bit concerned about how the approach is going to go. We have our excuse ready, but remember, the flap system, I haven't got the update for that, so we're going to have all sorts of wrong things, I suspect. But anyway. What is the elevation? It's pretty low. It's only 37 feet, so we can basically put target altitude is going to be 0. So that says 116 nautical miles. Now, as I said in my little video, if you have a strong tailwind, you're going to want to add about 10 miles to that, so it'll be 126. But for us, 37, and my sums that I typically use, remember in the real aircraft we have VNAV, so we back it up with some sensible checks, but yeah. It'll be 37,000 feet, so I just take 37 times 3, which is 111. And then I'd add 10, so 121. So very close, within 6 miles of each other. But this is a bit more accurate, but yeah. So it's a very, very good estimate. So if you were to start your descent here, that would be about right. It wouldn't be perfect. You might not do idle descent all the way to the runway, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. But remember, that's track miles, 116 track miles. We've got 366 at the moment. There could be more than your straight line distance to the runway. I'm so excited for this to be added. I've seen it's in work, in progress, but it's not in here yet, the progress page. This is what I use every day, being able to enter stuff here and get a bearing distance. So I'm really excited to have that added. Ethan's Aviation says, can you become a pilot with glasses? You can, as long as your eyes meet the criteria. You can use glasses, yeah, absolutely. In the UK anyway, but it does depend on what the reason and the strength of your glasses is. Yeah, Paddy has done the Dan Air livery as well, absolutely. Checkpoints run out of tea bags, oh dear. Corruption did O-levels, yeah, O-levels swapped over to GCSEs. Stephen says, what's the minimum amount of info you need to load into the MCDU if you don't want to program the entire flight from SimBrief? Ooh, there's a good question. Right. You need to put in a departure and an arrival. So you need to do that. It just depends what mode you want to use. If you want to use heading and vertical speed, you wouldn't need to do anything else in there, really. The one thing you will need is 0 fuel weight and CG, just to get these other numbers working. Yeah. But the plane would fly without any of this working. If you lost both your MCDUs and the FMGCs, the plane would still fly. You would just lose things like your managed mode. Things like that. Mr. Dillon says, could we expect a video on brake fan? Yeah, I suppose we could. Yeah, why not? We've done one on landing lights before. I've never done one on brake fan, and it would work for both Microsoft and X-Plane. So yeah. Won't work in flight, obviously. Supposed to turn it off for takeoff. Yeah, there are a few little bits of rules and information about it that could be useful. Checkpoint says, Manchester direct to Olbia. Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Lizzo5. Thanks for keeping on top of that. Arthur says you can also open EFB in new window by right out left mouse click. Then key bindings won't work and you can type anything. Ah, good idea. Yeah, because the key bindings. Thanks, Arthur. I can't do that on stream because you guys won't see it because I'm capturing the game window, not my desktop. We've got a few livery experts who can answer that for you, Van Raj. Van Raj is asking about livery creation process. Love this. Beautiful scenery. It's going to be beautiful scenery when we arrive. Right, I think what I need to do now, instead of sitting there chatting, let's get the weather. Now, what are the chances anyone's covering Olbia for us? I highly doubt it. No, there's no Olbia control. No. I wouldn't expect there to be. So, we'll go to a weather request then. Let's get the METAR. I think it's going to be a nice day when we get there. Dr. Darinaho says, how much disagreement between both PFBs is acceptable? You'll actually get an ECAM warning when they are too far out. So the aircraft has its own tolerances, but we do check them against the standby on the ground ourselves. It does change depending on your altitude. I'd have to look it up, to be honest with you, to get the numbers right. Not much. You know, they can be a few knots apart. That's not uncommon. But you know, if they're 5 knots apart, then that would already be raising my suspicions. Definitely, most definitely. Mr. Dillon says, I had the chance to do a sim session on a level D A320 with the EIS-1 display, and now I can feel the pain. Yeah, the EIS-1 is the older system, which is those rounded screens. All these Neos have the nice new LCDs now. Yeah, they're quite different. I like them for their, in their own way, but no, I prefer using the newer screens. Are nicer to use, no doubt. No doubts. Right, here we go. Thank you. Control 5. There we go. Looks like the weather's sitting where we would expect it. So, that means an easterly runway. My flight plan told me to expect the 2 Golf, course, the 2 Golf. Let me have a look at Navigraph. I try not to just show this endlessly for you guys. It's the 4 Lima. Oh, well, not even sure the 2 Golf is on my charts. Why not? What have I missed here? Oh, the 2 Golf goes to the VOR. Yeah, okay. Right, let me read out the charts, otherwise I'm just talking to myself. So, this is what we flight planned, Corsi 2 Golf. Now this is a classic example of this arrival is unlikely to be used by a traffic control. And I'm not going to use it today. The problem with this one is it goes to the VOR, and then what we'd have to do is head outbound from the VOR out here, round and in. So you're going to have to go to the VOR. You can't go directly outbound because the turn's too tight. So you've got to go to the VOR, enter the hold, and then leave. So just so much fuel. No good at all. Pointless. More likely, and what these days you'd get would be an RNAV arrival. One of these ones. Corsi, in you come. Let me just check something. Sorry guys, I'll be with you just a moment. Okay, right. Yeah, so Corsi, then we're going to head along here and fly some variety of this arrival. So I'm expecting the 2 Romeo, to be honest. Down, around, in, out, round and in. Something like that. 4 Lima would prepare you on the south side, maybe to come in the other way. So let's find a suitable one. Not that one, not that one. Corsi, there it is. Not this one. You see, this is the 4 Lima, so that goes to the south. So that's bringing you in for the other runway. For quite a pretty approach, though, I think. There's some nice scenery added on the other side. But we're on the other one. The 3 Mike. Nope, that's for 05. 2 Romeo. There it is. There it is. Right. Then the approach. RLS 05. Then the taxi. Airport. Parking. Okay, so for those of you flying along, if I know again I should have. I'm going to be better. I promise. I'll be more careful with those SIDs and stars. SimBrief just spits out any SID and star, and I basically ignore them because in reality, all we care about is the waypoints. And then I would, I'd expect to do what air traffic tell me on the day, or I'd think for myself like this. And what I mean by that is, our flight plan won't include it will include a arrival, but it could be the wrong one. It's not, the actual arrival will be made up by air traffic at the time, so it's just not reliable. But I do apologise, because what I do is I just put SimBrief's information into the brief, but it's just not what we're going to do. Joseph says I'm doing the Corsi 2 Romeo. Fantastic. Yeah, there we go. The 2 Romeo. That's what I expect to do. Good. So let's put that in here. That took me about 20 minutes. RLS 05. Corsi 2 Romeo via Obimi. Yep, because we're going to go out here. Bebi, Zilti, Obimi, Senau. If we put SME, that's the VOR over the airport. So we don't want to do that. There we go. So that's the flight plan. Let's check it carefully. See if I can show this to you guys. So I'm going to go to plan, zoom in. Now this might not be the clearest thing in the world, but it might work. So does this look like our charts? Corsi, there it goes, up around Goklo, Ipkov, round Abimi. It's missing out some of those points like Bebgi, but I'll forgive it. Yeah, it's just the way it's loaded in. I know there's lots of lateral nav, and round it goes. And I tried it earlier and it seemed to roughly work out. But what I need to be ready for is, this is a classic, 332 track miles, but I'm not going to fly half of that. We're going to get a straight in. So, well, we'll see. I might fly a lot of that, depending on how many planes are in front of us. So this is exactly the situation where I would, well, firstly check the RadNav, then progress page, I'd put in the airport, but it doesn't work at the moment because we're doing a little hat. Flight plan, RadNav, progress per fuel, secondary. Now, for those of you who are used to X-Plane, you will know that we should also be able to check the go-around coding, but it's not here in Microsoft Flight Simulator, sadly. So what we're going to do is check that go-around ourselves. So if we have to go around off that ILS, what do we have to do? Bring up the charts for you. We're going to proceed on the 053 radial from the SME to 5,000 feet, cross 19, 2,500 or above, then a right turn and join and follow the 21 DME arc from the SME to Ekrop and hold. So we're going to go out straight away, all the way out to 19, then make a right turn and intercept that. So we've got 19 miles of flying straight ahead to 5,000 feet, and then we can think about it. But that gives me a clue what I want in RadNav. I want the SME VOR, the one that's 1139 and 269 miles away. There it is. And the ILS should auto-tune, but we had trouble last time where it didn't. So I'm going to try and remember to tune that later on. We'll see what happens. So there you go. There's a bit of a RadNav setup. Progress page doesn't work. Performance then. Let's plug in that information. QNH was nice and high. 1031. Temperature of 11. So yeah, warmer. Worth coming on holiday. It was 2 degrees warmer. Gruxan, talking about the flaps, but the flaps we think are being fixed by Asobo, and therefore the A320 fix is also coming out today. Yeah. Oh, come on. There we go. 090/4. Transition altitude. Let's have a look at our arrival. We're flight level 90. Again, the 80s would tell you your transition level. It's not an altitude in the descent. That's wrong, but there we go. Flight level 90, flight level 70, flight level 70, 6,000 feet. So let's put 6,000 feet in there. It's the wrong way round, but there we go. Flat full for landing. So we're going to do flat full, but I'm going to see what pitch and power we have on final approach, and if I need to adjust it, I'm going to adjust it, because as we've discussed, the flap and powers could be messed up because of the latest update. Minima. ILS, we're a category C aeroplane, most definitely, so 330. We always will be in a 320, unless you're in a heavy, unless you're in a specific sort of 321. Some of those could be Cat D, depending on their flaps and so on. 650 RVR, weather's perfectly nice. That's actually slightly higher minima than normal. Look, it's we're 300 feet above, 294 feet above the threshold. The reason is we're on a steeper approach, 3.5 degree ILS, so there's our excuse in, along with the flaps. Where's it written? There it is, hidden away in Jepson charts. 3.5, tucked away there. Got a nice DME on that ILS, take us all the way in. ILS DME co-located, so that's pretty handy. Got some serious MSA, 6,200 feet, so we're going to stick to these altitudes on the arrival, but we basically won't go cutting the corner too much unless we're sure about the terrain. But if we're visual, we might have the option. But yeah, flight level 90, 70, pretty high up, and then finally it drops to 5,000 feet before we get to Senau. I'm going to give myself a nice long final approach. I don't want to cut in tight. I'm going to slow down early. So if anyone's behind me, I'm sorry, but I am going to slow down early so I can really work out these speeds, see if we can make an improvement on that. Right, so flight plan RadNav progress perf. Oh yeah, and finally for the go around, let's put in 1600 for the thrust reduction acceleration. Again, it won't even flash at us, but it will accelerate at least. Engine out can be the stop altitude for the go around, which we said was up to 5,000 feet. So there we go. Fuel, plenty of fuel, 3.3 extra, fine. Secondary doesn't work. Okay, let's just talk about our after landing. Landing 05, zoom. Now there's a cool terminal up here. We've got some nice airplanes with the scenery. So let's. Oh, it's a long runway, 2,400. It's long enough, although you've got a bit of an inset here, so we might not have that much. I'm going to go for medium. Auto brake, but idle reverse will be absolutely fine. And then roll out, probably Charlie, if not Foxtrot. We shall see how we do. Right. And parking stands, we'll just go and find a stand that isn't occupied by some scenery. Okay, good stuff. Get rid of that for you guys. And I'm back with you in the chat. Paul says, anyone know if there is a way to use the EFB without pressing keys and setting things off? Yes, I've just been informed by the very knowledgeable audience. I'm so sorry, I've forgotten who said it. Oh. There could have been a bit of a... Ooh, no, that was really bad. I hope the stream is still running. I think it is. Okay, good. Are you guys still there? Whew, that was scary. I've never done that before. I'm going to just check by going to an outside view. Yeah, so you can press right Alt and then click on it. So hold right Alt and click on the tablet and it would work. And then you can type into it apparently. Excuse counter 4. Yeah, 4. That's pretty good. There is a fix for every plane right now, I believe. Yeah. So I think Microsoft fixed all of them, but fly-by-wire is fixed, therefore it's now causing a bit of an issue, so you need to remove that. Ollie says, is the preference to use high auto brake rather than full reverse? Depends what you're trying to achieve. If you didn't have brake fans and we were landing at a heavy weight and we wanted to do a short turnaround, in that case, I would be pretty much thinking of using low water brake and max reverse if I thought it could be a problem. I mean, when it's 11 degrees, no problem. When there's wind, no problem. If you're landing at an airport and there's 15 knots of wind, then the brakes will cool down quite nicely. But if there's 5 knots and it's 30 degrees, then they won't cool down. They really won't. In that case, low water brake may be what you need. Now you can do it, and this is all without brake fans. When there's brake fans, then you're not worried about temperatures really. You can always cool them down even on a short turnaround. In that case, what do you prefer to do? Well, most airports would prefer you to use your brakes rather than your reverse. The other thing to remember is reversers don't do a whole lot on a dry runway. They really don't. Reverse thrust makes its biggest difference on a slippery or wet runway, but it makes very little difference on a dry. All your slowing down comes from the wheels and the speed brakes, which push the airplane down onto its wheels. Lydia says, good evening, glad to be on board again. Thanks as always for the stream. You're very welcome. Thanks for coming along. Really great to see you here. Okay, thanks Victor. Yeah, it's still working. Fusion says you might have been my pilot before. It's possible. Paddy says we're still here. That's good. Yeah, sorry about that. That was a scary moment though. YouTube Studio closed on me. Michael says I get tired of that lonely channel 1228. Yeah. We're having a surprising lack of controllers today actually. Normally you end up with quite a few over Europe. Let's not miss our top of descent. I've got to remember these track miles are talking nonsense, so I'm going to change this to 160, and now I can see, there you go, my arrival. We've still got a little bit of a journey to go. Not sure why I can't see any terrain beneath it. The real aircraft would still draw you a nice terrain map anyway. You can see it's tuning SPR, even though we asked it for the SME. So it must be picking up another one. Again, not really what the real airplane would end up doing. You're welcome, Paul. Boeing says, Air 2000 never used to use reversers after about 2002. I went and asked the first officer after a flight. They said idle reverse or no reverse after landing was company policy. Yeah, and that's pretty much most companies' policy. It's always an option, and if you need it for safety reasons, you can use it, but it burns a lot of fuel, and you've got to think of the other stuff it uses. You're going to burn that fuel, and then you're also going to wear out the engines faster. Plus, reverse pushes stones forward, and they can get adjusted, so it can chip the fan blades. So over time, using it is not great. It's just there if you need it. It's also incredibly noisy, so airports hate it because it wakes people up nearby, and they get complaints. Kai, who says, what's the difference between DH and MDA? DH is your decision height. It's the height above the ground beneath you. It's just the height. And altitude, your minimum descent altitude, is compared to sea level. So on the charts, please don't press the wrong thing. There we go. Our MDA is 330 feet. We're 330 feet above sea level. But remember, the airport is 36 feet above sea level. So that means we're only 300 feet above the runway, which you can see here. The height is 294, 300. So 294 would be our DH, 330 is our MDA. They write it weirdly. I mean, Jefferson says DA brackets H. So this is our decision altitude, which is the same as the MDA, minimum descent altitude, sorry. It's the same thing. And then the DH, decision height, 294, would be the alternative. Michael says, I'm in America. A few times I've flown a VATSIM. I tried to plan it so there's ATC on the flight plan. I have enjoyed it even though I am new. Yeah, that's great. It's always good to give it a try, and they're usually very nice. And a lot of controllers just like having traffic. It was nice of the Manchester controller to thank us for coming. I was worried they'd be annoyed at us. Jonah says, have you tried your controls copy mod? No, I haven't. No, I haven't tried many mods for Microsoft Flight Simulator. A320NEO is the main one. I always try and keep the other ones out of the way so that this mod will keep working. But we do use pushback helper. That's really great. I've had no problems with that. And hopefully on this one, unless I don't like the landing, we've got the replay. Now, I've been so far impressed, but I've only used it just this morning. the replay. I'm using the freeware one that's on flightsim.to. It's called Flight Recorder. It has a few glitches with the A320X where the reversers don't work, the sound doesn't work, but otherwise it has its purpose, most certainly. Mainly what seems good about it is you can rewind and then start from where you rewound to, which is even better than the X-Plane 11 one, doesn't let you restart from there. So that is going to be incredibly powerful and is the second most useful thing, compared only to situation save that Toliss provides, which is the best thing ever for making the videos, practicing things. It's just genius. So good. Kai, you're very welcome. Very welcome. Ryan B, how far out should a descent start now? Calculate for it. I've got 2 videos on that, Ryan B. So first of all, watch when to descend. I've got a when to descend video. Secondly, I've got my most recent video was about the descent calculator that the fly-by-wire team did a fantastic job of adding to this mod. So the first one will be when to descend. Harry says, opinions on the upcoming console version. Yeah, I am curious. I haven't tried. I've got an Xbox controller with me, so I should just try that and see if I can manage to do a whole flight using just that. That would make for painful viewing, though, I imagine. Michael says, I've had nothing but good things on that sim. I'm still new to it. Every single one of them have been amazing and helpful. There you go. That's great to hear. Yeah. I think the trick is just pick an airport that's busy and sit and listen. But for your first couple of flights, just pick somewhere that has space. We did a stream from Gatwick, and I still remember it. It still haunts me because it was so busy at Gatwick. The controllers were working really hard, and we were a big group, we all pushed at the same time, and it was no one's fault. Well, the only person whose fault it could be would be mine, because I shouldn't have put us in Gatwick. I think it was a real mess, and it caused some of our group to be so delayed at departing that they couldn't even make it in time. We flew Gatwick to Ibiza and back again. Yeah. Physics Germany says, question, the overlay says A20N, shouldn't it be A320N? No, it is actually A20N. Yeah, it's confusing, but that is the code for the 320 NEO. Yeah, and A21N. Funnily enough, yeah. So the overlay is right, according to and that's what we'd file with air traffic control. And when we do our pre-departure clearance through the ACARs, we would type it in there as A20N as well. Yeah. Jed says, I've flown using the controller. It's okay. Manual trimming is awkward though. Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine. Photosynthetic says, hey lads, hope we're all doing dandy. Like everyone else, I wanted to say thanks a lot for all your videos, 320 SimPilot. I really appreciate everything you've done. That's very kind. Thank you so much, Photosynthetics. Thank you for coming to say so. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks for coming and saying so. It always, yeah, it gives you so much motivation. And as I always say, I used to answer every comment on every video, and then the channel grew a bit, and that's just not practical. But I do read them. I think I read all of them. I do read them. So yeah. So thank you to those who leave messages, and I'm sorry if I don't leave a little the love, the comment, or answer, but I do read them, and I really appreciate it. And I see the feedback as well. So if someone, if you don't like something in the comments and you put it there, then I do see it. Don't worry, I do see it. Captain Bagoff says, how far are we from top of descent? Well, we want to descend, as we said. So we're going to go down to 0, 116 miles. Got a 10 knot headwind, so yeah, 116 miles is pretty good actually. But I want to do that from the runway, so I'm going to judge it based on this line. So pretty much when this line passes over, then I'm going to, well, actually, shortly after this line passes over the airport. So in terms of time, well, not long. 13:51. Any time now, really. Yeah. Within the next 5 minutes, probably. Mr. Espresso says, what does VOR on the lower part of the approach chart mean? Is that the Smeralda VOR equals IAF? Ooh, let me have a look. Not sure what. Not sure I can see it. Not sure I can see it, what you're talking about. Sorry, Mr. Espresso. Ethan says, would you ever fly the 330, 76 or both one day? Yeah, absolutely. The reason I can't do the 330 at the moment is I can't uninstall this. It's just this mod is too good. But they've done an amazing job. And I may well give it a go because I suppose I could always reinstall this. But I wanted to get this flight out in this livery. Really, really couldn't wait. Just so excited. 767, I mean, I've got the 757, so I don't think I'll buy the flight factor 767. I think it would just look exactly the same, except for the outside views. Elias says, is there an indicator of a top of descent? Not at the moment, no. Jenna says, do you prefer daily flights or night? My favourite flights are early morning flights. Now, I don't enjoy getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, but I'm happy to do it because what I like is taxiing out in the dark, taking off in the dark, and as you're climbing, the sun rises and it rises above the clouds around you, and then you're cruising along like this in the sun, and then you get to do your flight in the sun. Even better is if you can arrive at a sort of sunrise or sunset, and you get the shadows and everything. Yeah, I do enjoy that. We did a flight to Malaga on the stream a little while back, and flying to Malaga, if you come in over the sea as we did in the stream and you have the sun behind those mountains and stuff as it sets, oh, fantastic. So if you said you can only fly in daylight or nighttime for the rest of your career, then it'll have to be daylight. Philip says, how are you enjoying the Thrustmaster TTA side? Yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot. I really like it. I liked my old one, but the new one has more motion range in it, so it's good for that. I do like that. There's no cabin pressurizations yet simulated with this. I don't know when, sadly. Apparently there's a way to just switch off the fly-by-wire then switch it back on. No one installed needed. Very good. Dr. Darian says, flying in the rain with a hot choco? Yeah. Yeah. Problem with flying in the rain is that typically you'll be shaking around. It's usually rough to fly in the rain because rain is obviously going down, so there must be some sort of airflow going up or down around you. Or sometimes you get stratus rain as well, which is less of an issue. But yeah. Jordan says, hey Captain, been flying the Aerosoft CRJ and PMDG 737. Never had a thing really for Airbus, but ever since I started, it's been amazing. Thank you to your videos. Oh, that's great to hear. Yeah, absolutely love hearing that. Thank you. Thanks, Jordan. Glad that the videos have helped you enjoy the bus. Really appreciate it. Will Aviation, thanks for coming along. Will says, just finished cooking dinner. How's the stream so far? Stream is fine. Yeah, so far. But you've obviously missed the excuses, so I will repeat them 4 to 5 more times before we land. Microsoft Flight Simulator updated 5 minutes before I loaded this flight up because I totally forgot that at 4 o'clock it would update, so I really should have had it running earlier to make sure it didn't happen. As a result, my fly-by-wire version is not fixed for the latest patch. So there is a bug with the flaps and the lift, so it could be all a bit wonky. We shall see. Koo says, hello, first time here. A question, how does it feel to play a game that simulates your job? Yeah, it's fun. It's really fun. The weirdest thing was when I used virtual reality and I was sitting in the flight deck in 3D. That was pretty surreal. I haven't worked out if... I mean, do you guys want to see virtual reality videos? They wouldn't be very long, and I wouldn't use them for tutorials or anything like that, but just for a bit of fun. The downside of virtual reality is obviously for streams and tutorials and so on, it's hopeless because it looks like it's shaking, even though to me it wouldn't be, but it's just my head movements. But yeah. But I could do a sort of a flight around a bay or something like that, just to give you guys a bit of a sense of what it includes. Yeah, there is an update, Gruxton. It just fixes the flap lift issue. And some other things, I imagine, but that's one I know it fixes. Captain says, super early flights are the best. Even though all crew are still half asleep, being back home at 2 to 3 p.m. is the best. My Frankfurt sunrises are the best. There you go. Yeah. Frankfurt sunrises are the best, eh? Yeah, it's great. I know what you mean. Paul says, I agree. I was a Boeing engineer and only flew Boeings and FS&X plane, but since Microsoft Flight Simulator and this channel have loved the 320. That's great. Yeah, really great. I suppose we've been lucky that the 320 was included with Microsoft Flight Simulator, and then we're even luckier, frankly, that the fly-by-wire team came in and put so much work into it. What I'm going to do is take a look at that map. I've forgotten to load in that program again that someone told me about last time, of Atlanta. Yeah, I'm supposed to do that. Terrible. There's been so much going on with the, with Flight Sim and the videos. Right, there's an EasyJet 1919 right next to us. So and they're going the same way. So that is going to cause an issue. So let's see how we can fix this one. Where are they? There they are. They are at 35. Pretty cool. So either they can go ahead and cut the corner. I'm not sure what the best way to fix this one would be. We'll have to figure this one out. Captain Bagoff says, yeah, sunrise taking off over my house is always amazing. Yeah, I love it. Ethan says, have you been to Skiathos or Corfu? I won't answer for real life, but certainly we've been to both in the sim. Yep, absolutely. Ryan says, are you using the custom autopilot and custom fly-by-wire? We are indeed, both. So, all my fault. Axeman says, Fox 3. Josh says, in Innsbruck there is never any tugs or stairs available. Do you know how to fix it? Or is it just a bug? Because there were at the start of the game. Oh, I don't know, I'm afraid. I don't know. LJ4S says, I'm easy 1919. I'll slow down. Okay, thanks very much. Very kind of you. I will. If you're going to slow down, then what I'll do is I will cut the corner. Let's... because this is hopeless. Let's go direct to Corsi. I don't know why we're zooming around like this. Corsi. Nav. There we go. Hopefully it will sequence correctly. Paulius says 320 is real candy. Really nice to see this aircraft demystified on the channel. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I think. There we go. So now we're going to put some space between us, which is good because pretty soon we're going to need to start our descent. We're within the 120. Now, if we're going to fly this whole route, we've got 144 miles. We wouldn't need to descend yet. We've got about 40 miles spare. So let me just see how much traffic's in front of us, and I need to figure out whether everyone in front is going to cut the corner as well, because otherwise I'll just cut the corner into everyone. Oh wow, some people are already on approach. Look at that. Manta 14 Juliet. Mike Juliet is already ahead. Alpaca is on final. Excellent. Oh, the Alpaca's a bit high actually. Maybe they're doing the arrival still. Or it's not up to date. And easy in front. So if the EasyJet in front is going to cut the corner, then we can too. So that's the plan. Let's start our descent. Oh yeah, let's put it in. That helps. Flight level 90. There we go. It should say thrust idle. It does say open descent. Down we go. Ryan says, do you need me to slow down a little? I'm behind you. Oh, I see. We've got easy 90. You're... wow, it's hard to judge the distances. You're probably all right where you are. I might catch up with easy 338 in front. That's going to be the challenge here. Mr. Espresso, just lowered the flaps on the 320NX for the approach. I'm flying along offline. All seems working fine. That's great, Mr. Espresso. Mr. Espresso, did you update Microsoft Flight Simulator before this? And did you update the A320NX? Flick says, can you do flapless landings on normal runways with just lots of brakes in reverse? Yeah, as long as the runway's long enough. And you can do it on a surprisingly short runway, as long as you're not overweight. Yeah, you can do flapless landings. AC455 is on final. Fantastic. Victor Tango says, time for me to go and prepare dinner. I shall watch the rest later on. Thanks for the stream, 320 Simpilot. Thank you, Victor Tango. Thanks for your donation. Thanks for moderating. And yeah, enjoy your dinner. Sorry, I always run over your dinner time. Josh says, what's your favourite approach IRL, or would you prefer not to say? It's a hard one. There's so many I like. We did one recently. Ljubljana is one of my all-time favourites. There's a couple in Norway I want to show as well in Microsoft Flight Simulator. And with thanks to ORBX, we have some more sceneries we can use for that. SCLTXN, thanks for coming along here from the last stream. Great to see you. I hope you enjoy it. Mr. Espresso says, yes, just before the stream. And did you update the fly-by-wire, Mr. Espresso? Because I didn't, sadly. That's where I've probably gone wrong. I didn't have the time because it was just before. Anthony says, I don't know whether to watch stream or educational videos because I still need to learn MCDU. Yeah, just relax. And the more you have a go with it, the more you'll get used to it. Ethan says, will you fly Jet 2 again or 2E in the future? On the streams? Yeah, we did Jet 2, didn't we? So I don't see why not. Mr. Espresso says, was fast update. Yeah, my update for Flight Simulator was very fast, but I didn't check the A320X in time. Captain Bagoff says, I bet you love Newark approach. Yeah, there's a few I need to look at over in America. Ryan says, okay, I'll stay as I'll keep close eye on Batscope. Yeah, perfect, thanks. I'm using the A320X mod. Mr. Espresso updated. Yeah, so Mr. Espresso, sadly, I didn't update the fly-by-wire. That's just where it's all going to go wrong. Beautiful, beautiful livery. That's just such a good job. There you go. I told you I'd keep saying it, and I'm living up to that. There's the island. So, Sardinia, what do we know about Sardinia? Well, Olbia Airport, obviously, is in Sardinia. It used to be the head office of Air Italy. It was actually first an airfield in 1921. It also had a seaplane port. So the Italians have had lots of famous seaplanes. So yeah, they used it as that. Obviously, it was important in the war. But it's the second largest Mediterranean island. It's described as a microcontinent because it's got every sort of terrain. You've got mountains, you've got long beaches, you've got plains, you've got woodland, and you can see why. Unless I'm looking at the wrong islands here. Make sure I get the right one. There we go. Not this one. It's going to be this one in front of us. Yeah, I thought that didn't seem right. But yeah, so it's famous for having sort of everything. Current average temperature, 12 degrees. And unlike some other islands in the Mediterranean, it's not prone to earthquakes, apparently. Pretty nice. Very popular tourist or holiday place for Italians as well, of course. Captain Bagoff says, not Newark, LaGuardia. Ah. Horrible airport for both pilots and passengers. Oh dear. Okay. Roxanne was in Sardinia a couple of years ago. Fantastic. I wish I could go. I've never been. Darian says the lads behind you basically have to fly VFR. Yeah. Well, now I'm just carving across. Still, luckily, it is a VFR day. So here we go. Here's the plan. Corsi. And then we're just going to, let's go to constraint. We don't need these other airports. This is still a bug, of course. Yeah, of course, it was 60 miles, 20,000 feet. So we can do it straight in. We'll go to Obimi and in. That's going to be the current plan. But I need to remember on base leg, I need to start the recorder. I need to probably tune the ILS. And I need to configure early for the flaps. Matt Livingston, thank you so much for your £9.99 donation. Very generous of you, Matt. Thank you. Matt says, thanks for the stream. Be content. Inspirational as always. That's really kind, Matt. Thank you so much. Thanks for supporting the channel. Really appreciate it. And thank you for coming along to watch. And thank you for saying so. It's really kind. Yeah. Thank you. Really appreciate it. The stream is lagging, but the sound is normal. Ooh, okay. I'm not sure why. Corsica's to the north, isn't it? Yeah, that's Corsica. Yeah, you guys have caught me. Ah, we're getting a bit of lag. Yeah, I'm getting a warning. Sorry, guys. Thank you, Noah Chiricho, for your $4.99 donation. Really appreciate it, Noah. Thank you so much. Noah says, hey, man, keep up the good work. Nice to have a reliable professional source of information for my flight simulator. You're very welcome. Thank you so much for saying so, Noah. Really appreciate it. Thank you for coming along. Yeah, thank you for the donation. I'm sorry if I'm breaking up or you don't hear it very clear. But yeah, thank you so much. Sorry about the lag. I have no idea why. I've got no I've got no reason for this to be a sudden issue, but thank you so much, Noah. I really appreciate it. Has it come back yet? It says good connection now. It usually says excellent. But thank you, Noah, for your donation, and thank you, Matt. Really kind. Stream is fine for Matt. Okay, good news, good news. Audio is perfect, good. EG is red indeed. Yeah, it says good now. I'm hoping that picks up in a second for you guys. At least the audio is perfect, I suppose. That's a bit easier. I'm not getting any warnings here. But thank you again to Matt and Noah. Thank you for your donations. Really appreciate it. I'm just going to do a bit of panning because that will reveal if my simulator or my Streamlabs are concerned. No, they both seem fine. We do use, I think we use the NVENC encoder now for our streams. We use the GPU. I used to do it on the CPU, for those interested. Seems to be good. Perfect. Yeah, it's excellent condition. It says excellent condition. You know, I must admit, we have been incredibly lucky with the internet connection, because I have had days where the internet just doesn't work here, and thankfully they haven't coincided with the stream yet, so I think we've done well. The other thing is, the best investment I ever made was that Ethernet cable. After you guys told me to get an Ethernet cable, I got a 15-meter one that runs directly from my computer to the router, and that is just absolutely required. Great, it's all working. Slideshow edition, yeah. Salem says, could start both engines in 320 NEO IRL. Not sure what you mean. Not sure what you mean. It's fine, good stuff. MCM says, love to stay, getting ready for the approach. See you on the ground. See you on the ground. Enjoy your approach. How are we doing on the altitude now? 15,000 feet. So 15 times 3 would be 45 plus 10. I need about 55 miles. I've got 40 miles plus the ILS, 50. So yeah, we're still on profile. Still working out. That's working just fine. Things I need to do though. We're going to need to check a few things in here shortly. 32, thank you very much for your £5 donation. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Very kind. 32 says, great stream as always, Captain. I lied, by the way. Flew my lovely girl Boeing 727 into Olbia earlier just so I knew I could do it. Fantastic. Thanks for your donation, 32, and thank you for watching as always. Really appreciate it. Yeah, very kind. How is the stream doing? Yeah, it seems to be doing okay. Good. Yeah, no, thank you very much, 32. Really, really appreciate it. Adam says, can't wait for the landing. Well, got the excuses in. Definitely got the excuses in. Everyone agrees the excuses are in, I hope. Dr. Darian Naho says, how many times have pinched that cable in the door? Oh, 1,000. And I had to untwist it the other day because it just got so wound up into a big knot. Oh, you can't. No, you can't start both engines at the same time. No, they wouldn't. Whether it's physically possible, I don't know. I've never tried. But the problem would be there wouldn't be enough air pressure to do both. Jenna says, are you chatty or quiet on real-world flights? It depends who you're with. If you're with someone you have things to talk about with, or who you just get along with, you might be a bit more talkative than someone who maybe you're not. Also, it depends how busy you are. Could be that the flight's taking a lot of concentration. You've got turbulence and things, or other issues. Good evening, Stuart Egerton. Thanks for coming along. Josh says, are you going to get the TC8 throttle add-on? And also, have you ever had to do an emergency landing IRL, and how many diversions have you done? I will get the TCA add-on. I can't answer the other ones. I can't. I haven't. Have I done a real emergency landing? I don't know. I've flown a couple of airliners for a few years, so I've had a few different sort of technical things, and I don't know whether I've ever had one I could qualify as an emergency landing in real life. Diversions, I couldn't count. Plenty. Rare, but I've done a handful at least. Noah, thank you very much for your $4.99 donation. Really appreciate it, Noah. Thank you for supporting us again. Noah says, one question. I know it's push for managed, pull for selected. How do you do flight change in the Airbus? So we are doing flight change now. It's effectively an open descent. So you pull. Pull is selected, which is effectively, in this case for the descent, would be like flight level change. It's the same idea. Yeah. Aviation Adam says, I've started both engines on the flight factor in X-Plane, so there you go. Now we slowed down here, and this is going to affect our ability to descend. So I'm going to actually wind the speed up. And let's see, where could we cut the corner to? How are we doing for altitudes? Wow, Sven, Burger, thank you very much, Sven, for your €27.99 donation. Really appreciate that. That's very generous as well. Thank you. I hope you're doing well. There's no message, but Sven, thank you so much. It's really generous. Thank you for your support on the channel. Yeah, really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Right, so flight level 90 is our level off here. So we'll do that. There's 10,000 feet, 250 knots. Get those LS buttons on. And I'm just going to make my life easy. I'm going to activate the approach phase now, so it's done. Keep it in selected and check the rad nav. Still not tuned it, so I'm going to tune it in a second. But in the meantime, I'll let it fly the arrival. So Sven, thank you so much. Really appreciate the donation. That's very generous, Sven, and I hope you're doing very well. And yeah, if you have a comment, do tag me in the chat and I'll read it out. But thank you so much. Really appreciate it. I hope you joined the stream today. So here we go. So this is the microcontinent. Beaches, woodlands, mountains, it's all here. Right, let me take a look at that map and see how we're doing. Oh, there is a controller above us. So Alpaca landed the other way. They landed onto 2-3. We have got Easy 1919 at 18,000 feet. So they're well above us, going the same way. So we're underneath an Easy Jet, who is cruising in up there. Klaus as well, thank you so much. You guys are being far too generous as ever. Klaus, thank you for your 45 Danish kroner donation. Really appreciate it. Great entertainment as always. Thank you. You're very welcome. Thanks so much, Klaus. Really appreciate it as always for your donations. And thank you again to Sven. Very kind, you guys. Really kind. But thank you, Klaus, for that donation. You've been supporting the channel so much over the time, most certainly. Right, I'm just going to let it fly the arrival because I'm concerned that we've got traffic above us who might dive in and do the approach ahead of us. So I'll just let it cruise in at 250. We do have these 210 speed limits, so perhaps I could skip those. Let's pretend that air traffic control have said no speed restriction. The reason you'd have a speed limit like this is because this is designed to just hold airplanes in a line whilst they filter in. So the first airplane could get the shortcut, the next one could get a shortcut to here, the next one could go to Ipkov, and the next one to Goklo. So air traffic can sequence really easily without anyone having to go into a hold. So that you don't want to fly this fast normally because you would just skip it. If there was no one in front of you, you'd skip it. But I'm just going to fly to 250 knots and then get ready for the approach. Dr. Darian says, the aircraft can retract speed brakes under alpha prop, but can it extend them at all? It would extend them on landing in certain situations, but otherwise no, it doesn't extend them in flight. It does use them for roll though, and for holding the bank angle in normal law. The 78 and 74 are the only ones I know that can start engines at the same time, says Ethan's Aviation. Yeah, that makes sense actually. Yeah, they can do that. Oh goodness me, you guys. Roy Marks, £5 donation. Thank you very much, Roy. Roy says, I downloaded Olbia from ORBX and made the flight down here this afternoon, where my EasyJet A320 is now. Great scenery here. Fantastic. Thank you so much for the donation, Roy. Really appreciate it. Very generous. Thank you for coming along to say so. Yeah, I agree. I think we're going to have nice airport scenery when we get on the ground. Looking forward to it. Let's just hope my flaps aren't too wrong. But thank you for your donation. Very kind. Thank you again to Roy, Klaus, and Sven. Sven says, yeah, it's just a thank you for your video. Thank you, Sven. Really appreciate it. Thanks so much. Sick bags are they ready? Says Smiled. Yeah, tight 90 degree turns okay. The problem more comes from reversing the turn. So left then right, then left then right. Holds are another one in IMC. So if you're in cloud and you're holding, that makes people feel a bit nauseous. 24 Sankalp says, after CPL, how many years it took for a job on A320? How many years did it take me? I'm not going to be too specific. I'll put it this way. I know people who got jobs on the A320 as their first flying job. It wasn't my first flying job. I did a few years of flying elsewhere before I flew the A320. A few years. Less than 5 years. But some people do it straight away. So it really depends. Yeah. But thanks very much for the donation. Really appreciate it. Thank you. I hope you're doing well. Koo says, speaking of, have you got experience flying the Airbus in direct law? We do the Airbus in direct law in the simulator. So yes. But not the real aircraft, thankfully. Okay, let me just bring up the chart. So we're now downwind. We can down to flight level 70. 70. And now we can do it the proper way. Let's do it with vertical speed. The most likely way to do it here. Vertical speed 600. Down we go. Let me tune that ILS in, which is 1099. Not sure why it's not auto-tuning these days. We shall see. So there it is. There's the approach phase activated, config full, and as we said, we may select a higher speed, but there's the ISM identified. Great news. AC455 says, what is acceptable G-force range for landing the 320 smoothly? It does depend a little bit. Remember, smooth is not our target with the landing, but in terms of what you can feel, if you land at sort of above 1.5 G, you'd feel it. 1.7 would feel pretty rough. Yeah, pretty rough. Swiss says, what's your favourite modern airplane? Livery. Ooh. I like the Singapore livery a lot. I like the Air Canada new livery a lot. Those are all... I suppose Singapore is not really modern. It's just their livery they've always had. The Air Canada one's modern and very smart, I think. Adam Cooper says, hope you had a good flight, Captain. Looking forward to the landing. All the best. Thanks, Adam. Thank you for coming along. Croxton says, I'm going to go and update Microsoft Flight Simulator. Maybe see you in a bit. Yeah, see you soon. Okay, right turn now of this leg of the arrival. We can... I won't show you the chart every time, but we're going to be at 7-0 now all the way until we basically start that turn when we can get down to 6,000. Josh says, have you ever thought of flying your own home? Should make a right turn soon. Ooh, that's not very comfortable. Come on, right. It's in heading. How's that happened? No, not going to do it. This happened last time where it gives up halfway around the arrival. It did this when we were doing that DME arc, you guys remember? Well, we're just going to carve along roughly on this flight. So I may struggle to read the chat now, guys. It's going to take a bit more concentration on this. What happens if I manage the speed? There we go. Back to green dot. Let's do 219. Ah, now this is frustrating. There we go. It is possible to adjust by 1 knot at a time, but a little bit fiddly. So we'll do 210, as we're going to be doing it manually, heading about 240, 250. It's sequenced to Senau. Yeah, so for some reason it's sequenced too far, and it's just given up on the navigation. Oh well. Domino says, have you flown to Sarajevo, Bosnia? Could be a good stream. There is an NDB arc approach there, though, through high terrain. Yeah, we've been to Sarajevo by accident in one of my group flights. It must be time for a group flight soon as well as our X-Plane streams. Yeah, we have actually been, but like I said, it was an accident. Here we go then. The next one is going to be... Let's get the latest weather. Wouldn't normally do this late, but there we go. Next, we're going to descend to 6,000 feet. Hey, Rob says, extremely frustrating in increments in 10s if you have the Thrustmaster 320. Oh, is that because of the Thrustmaster? I didn't think that I didn't realise that it came there, but yeah. Ah, Chickpoint, thank you. He says, don't forget to hit record. Yeah, really good point. I'm going to load it up now. Let's hope the sim doesn't crash. Okay. First step done. Good point, thank you. Do remind me again as we're on the RS. Josh says, sorry for the repost. You just started reading, then had to deal with the bus. Anyway, ever thought of building your own 320 home cockpit? Haha. Yes, that's a good question. I know Windows Seat posted a picture of the FCU. So, you know, because I stream and do the videos, having my own FCU would be nice, where I could, instead of looking up here, if I could do it myself. The downside of that is for videos is that it's if you can't see me fiddling with the FCU, you won't know what I'm doing. So no, I haven't. In seriousness, I haven't actually thought about doing that. No. Danny says, I've had the same problem earlier. Autopilot just gives up halfway through arrival. Yeah, we had this the other day. So 6,000 should be safe here over this terrain is what it's designed for as we fly this turn. What's the actual MSA for this sector? The MSA is 6,200. So we're not really flying the arrival very accurately. So I'm going to just descend to 6,200 feet. Because that is safe in this area. I'll just announce when I'm on final on Unicom, I think. Kunari says, Aviate, navigate, communicate, read stream chat. Yeah, exactly. Although far too often on this channel it goes read stream chat, then aviate, then read stream chat, then navigate. Thanks, Chickpoint. Thank you. Thomas says, how do you do an RLS? Well, I have an RLS tutorial on the channel. I have two, in fact, both in X-Plane and in the Microsoft Flight Simulator, so whichever you happen to be using. But you're about to see it. Basically, you need to have selected the approach in here, so select your airport, select your arrival, and then select the RLS. It should automatically tune, but if it doesn't, type in the frequency into the radio navigation page, so 1099, and then check it says you the right number there, ISM, and then press LS to bring it up on the PFD. There it is, ISM. So now we have the ILS. The next thing I'm going to do is get myself onto an intercept heading and press approach. Let's bring up the latest weather because we are actually higher than 6,200. That's what I was doing. You see, reading the chat too much, not focusing on what I'm doing. So let's print out the latest one, make sure we get the right QNH. The last one was 1031. This time it is 1031. So there we go, 6,200, 1031. When it's high, you're okay because you're a bit higher than you thought you were. But yeah, very important. You don't miss that like I did there. Very important. I'm just going to go left now to a Bimmy. Josh says, are you looking to get the Aerosoft CRJ when it comes out? And if so, do you know how much it will? And you do many videos on it. I am planning to get it. Yes, absolutely. I want to give it a go. I don't know when it is coming out or how much it will cost, but I would definitely like to do videos. If you guys would like to see that, you know, it's all about you guys hopefully enjoying the content and getting something from it. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said in previous streams, there's that star 6,200. Yeah, I have flown a lot of Aerosoft CRJ simulator time, but I haven't flown the real one. Approach checklist briefing then is confirmed. ECAM status is checked. All looking good. Seatbelts need to come on now. Most certainly. Landing lights on. There we go. BARF is set to 330. MD-ADH. Sorry, BARF 1031. MD-ADH 6000. Sorry, 330. There we go. Engine mode selector is to normal. Just going to cut it a little bit wider. We're very visual. We haven't even got the radio altimeter, so the train can't be that high beneath us. But yeah, pretty stunning. Pretty stunning stuff. Oh, there you go, 42 euros for the base CRJ 600 apparently. Has that been announced yet? Because I know it's supposed to be announced yesterday. Is there a release date? Yeah, I'd like to try those out. Okay. Let's see, we've got to keep a close eye on things now. Oh, no. That should be 1031. There it is. I think, just out of interest, let's try direct OpenMe insert nav. Okay, that seems to have woken up. Let's see what happens here. Cricksman says, what are your thoughts on FS 2020 flight physics compared to X-Plane? I like the X-Plane flight physics a lot. The Microsoft one seems to be improving, but I have some reservations about some parts of it, mainly the ground handling and the sensitivity on the rudder and the grippiness of the wheels on the tarmac seem too high to me, but that's just my opinion. Yeah, but Once you're in flight, I can't say. I think it's more down to each add-on. So the Carinado Wacko YMF5 has really nice feeling. It feels like a real heavy biplane when you're flying it. I really like flying it. Some of the default planes, actually, I really like flying the Baron. I really enjoy that, the default one, and some of the smaller Cubs. So there's good stuff in it. Yeah, I can't complain. The info bar is Fly Live Studio, Steve. Okay, so 6 miles out, so it's a 3.5 degree glide slope. So from here we would intercept 6, 12, 18, maybe 16 miles out. So we've got plenty of room. We've lost some of the indications because we're so far out. In real life, you'd probably get both a glide slope and a localizer this far out. You're very welcome. Dr. Darren says, don't forget the icing. Hopefully the icing isn't an issue today. So that is identified. I can see the localizer diamonds. I'm just going to press the localizer, see if we can fly ourselves onto it. Time to slow down as well. Let's go to manage speed. So yeah, F1 says, any tips for a good landing? Yeah, do check out my tutorials on that on the channel, or go to www.320simpilot.com. Now this is what it's doing to me earlier, so I'm going to have to stay in selected, I think. www.320simpilot.com, and I've got a collection of my tutorials on there for landings, go-arounds, all sorts, in both Microsoft Flight Simulator and X-Plane, whichever you're using. Right, on this leg, we can now descend down to 5,000 feet after Abimi, because we are now back on the profile. Let's do that in vertical speed. Let's go to flap 1. Speed is correct. So yeah, normally I could stay in managed speed to do this. So that's another point. If you're looking to do your approaches in Microsoft Flight Simulator in the 320 for the first time, make sure you also activate the approach phase. So perf, activate, and then arm them or manage the speed by pushing this in. But it just doesn't seem to work on this approach. I did try earlier as well. So I'm just going to have to select the S speed, no problem. Arm the approach now. In the second order pilot, there's localizer catch visual AP1+2. Let me start the record. Wow, I'll leave it a little bit later. Don't need it so far. Pretty heavy, 59 tons. I'm a little surprised to see such a high S speed, but there it is. Going to use a little bit of speed brake. And what I would do in real life in this situation is I'm going to select the speed at 170. The reason I'm doing that is I want it to slow down a bit more. Let's insert the glide slope without leveling off, shall we? Let's do 400 feet per minute. I don't want the airplane to spool up at S speed, so I'm going to select the speed lower. Now the speed is comfortably below 200 knots. And remember, we've got a steep approach here, a steeper flap 3.5. So given the fact that we haven't got a strong headwind, I'm going to go to flap 2 now. And we'll just keep it at 170 knots. Let it intercept the glide slope. Hello, Vanderveen says, the streams have been a bit blurry when looking around lately. Can that be because of change of encoder? Don't want to be rude, still having the streams. Okay, I'll have a look. I'll see what happens. The ridiculous icing, says Darren. Ah, yes, yeah. There's glide slope star. Let's have our go-around altitude. 5,000 feet is in there. Okay, let's do the recording, because I will forget if I don't do it now. Pressing record. It's recording. I've pressed it. I promise I've pressed it. Glide slope, bit of mechanical turbulence coming off these hills out there. The second order pilot is a backup and also allows it to auto land. So 13 miles out, 170 knots, that's no problem. Let's reduce to 160. So here's going to be the question. We've got flap 2 out. Let's see. Yeah, it seems pretty reasonable. Thanks, checkpoint. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the reminder, guys. Mr. Espresso had a flawless flight with the 320X. SID star, flap, and ILS worked fine. Yeah, very good. That's probably because you updated it. There's the approach. There's the runway. 2 whites, 2 reds. And it's this steep approach, obviously. Slightly steeper for 3.5 as we come in over this terrain. We'll get a nice replay after this, first time ever. Eric, thank you very much for your 50-knot donation. Really appreciate it. Eric says, no pressure cap. Haven't you forgotten the excuses? Right, excuse time. So, guys, remember, we always have to have excuses before 1,000 feet on the approach. What are our excuses today? Well, the first one is going to be the approach hasn't sequenced properly, which would explain maybe why it won't do managed speed. Yeah, it's not happy with the sequencing. No. So selected speed, not really a good excuse, but an excuse. Let's put the gear down now. Let's try and configure now so we have time. So gear's going down. Secondly, I think I have a problem with my flap model, so I think this will be the wrong setting. So we shall see, and we may have to do our own speed setting for that. So that's the excuses. Let's get the speed brakes in. There you go. Look, you can see when you use the speed brakes. Now this one doesn't actually come up in flight. This is a ground spoiler, but there you go. I'm pretty sure anyway. I'd have to check that. Right, so there's flap 2. We're gear down. So gear comes down. As soon as that happens, arm the speed brake lever. Nose wheel lights can come on. Ding on the cabin crew. Preparing the excuse counter. Absolutely. Okay, it's all coming together. 7 miles out. There, let's just configure fully. I don't know why I'm waiting. Fleet check, flaps to 3. Let's go to the performance page. Our V app should be 128. Let's see if that compares. We'll go to flaps full. We shall see. I'm looking for about 2.5 degrees pitch. If I see the nose is much higher, then I'll know the flaps aren't working properly and we're in the issue that we thought we were. Let's put it there. Let's see how that sits. Now remember, it is obviously a slightly steeper approach as well. Oh, I really wish I'd managed to fix this before the flight. So what have we got? Director Darian says, in proper sequence, in proper speed, Microsoft Update 5, and yeah. So the flaps are the big one. Yeah, so look, we're at 140. Let's do 140. And that's still a high pitch, even though we're descending at 900 feet per minute. So guys, this is not realistic. This is not what you'd end up, but we're basically simulating that the flaps aren't out fully. So I'm going to keep the speed up so the nose is a bit more where I expect it to be. I have no idea how this will impact the flare law or how the airplane will feel. So I don't know, guys. We shall see. Landing checklist cabin is secured. Auto thrust is in speed mode, we can tell. Go around altitude is set at 5,000 feet. Eco memo is landing no blue. So there we go. Let's give it a go. Runway looks clear. I think we've made it in front of everyone. So that's about the right pitch. It's just a bit fast. We might find that the controls a little bit more sensitive than we expect. We shall see. We're not on a server. We're on VATSIM. This isn't on the multiplayer server. Right. Just check the recorder is going one last time. Recorder's going. It's got 7,000 frames. It says. Good stuff. Right, here we go then. Just give it a go. Autopilot off. Now we're going to follow the pappies because the glide slope has gone a bit funny on me earlier when I tried this. Sync rate's a bit high there. Let's adjust that. Yeah, the glide slope seems to disappear out the window. A little bit of turbulence. We've got that wind from the right coming off those hills. Yeah, so quite a high ground speed. So to keep this sort of 3.5 degree descent, it's taking quite a bit. Keep driving towards the touchdown zone. Now I'm expecting it to float a little bit. Well, we shall see. Just to idle. Hold it there. Hold it there. There's touchdown. And let's let it down. Okay, going to take over on the brakes because we're using a bit more runway because of that extra speed. So we missed that exit. And we got spoilers, reverse green and decel. There you go. So how did that one work out? I think that felt all right. I wasn't as I was a bit nervous about what it could be, but I think it felt all right. So we've got a replay. We can go and have another look. But yeah, you can see that brake temperatures because of that extra speed we were carrying there, over 400. Now these temperatures wouldn't go up quite that quickly in the real aircraft because they take time. But it sounds like it worked out. 114, there we go, success. So there you go. It shows you that pitch and thrust is more important than anything. So we weren't getting enough lift out the flaps because my mistake. But yeah, it's we were talking about it earlier with the unreliable speed. The pitch thrust is how you fly, really. And the military guys would just fly off angle of attack. The F-14 on final approach, you do 15 degrees AOA. That's all that matters. from my limited DCS experience. Olbia traffic, Jetset 258 vacated the runway now. I shouldn't have said it quite that early. There we go. So this fantastic livery has brought us to glorious Olbia with the fantastic ORBX scenery. We had those nice runway textures in these taxiways. I really like it. And the magic of vacating here is we'll get to see some CL-15 Canadair firefighting airplanes. So I'm excited about that. So how did it go? Everyone says, it seems to go okay. That's good. Good stuff. Good stuff. There's the traffic behind us. Great news. Right, let's get rid of these lights. Thank you to the guys who've flown along. But remember, I won't turn off the engines this time. These ones should stay on, sorry. It'll be the strobe that should come off, which some of you, the keen eyes, might have spotted. I forgot to do on the last stream. Oh, I did, but I put them back on again by accident for crossing the runway. Adam, thanks for flying along. Need to go. Good day. Good day to you. Thank you so much. So we're going to taxi in, but I'm not going to turn off the engines. And I'm going to leave the flaps and the speed brakes. I want to see, because I don't know if the replay needs those. Alan says, why don't the air brakes auto disengage? No, we have to disarm them ourselves, otherwise they stay like that. If I went to full thrust, they would go down in the real airplane. Thomas wants us to go to LGKR from Luton, I think, EGW. There we go, easy behind us, fantastic, thank you so much. Josh says, have you done extreme crosswind landing tutorial in the 320? I can't find it. If you haven't done one, would you be willing to do a crosswind? Yeah, crosswinds is definitely extreme crosswinds. We can look into that. Yeah. Now I've got rudder pedals. It's much more enjoyable to do crosswind sort of landings. Do you reckon we can? Oh, I'm going to do it. I'm going to bring the spoilers and flaps up and let's see. Hopefully the replay will work. Thanks XVLP. Thank you. Everyone's excited for the replay. Me too. So there's all our colleagues. Let's go and get ourselves in. Is there anyone else landing? Yeah, it's a shorter runway than you'd think, 2,400 meters, but you lose a lot of that quite quickly. Look at this. Let's go park up next to the Canadairs. Fantastic. Italy, there's the head office. There's Thompson. Which is where these airplanes ended up. Oh, actually, they were first choice. Thompson no longer has any 320s. Get that nose rounds. I do like driving airplanes on the ground from the outside. It's so enjoyable. And park brakes set. Great stuff. Right, guys. Thank you so much for flying along. Thank you to those who are out there flying with us. Thank you to everyone who's joined in the chat. Thank you for the likes. If you have enjoyed the approach and landing, do please like the video. It makes a big difference to us. And now we are going to go and do the replay. Right, guys. Here we go. I'm going to disconnect from VATSIM. Thank you to those who flew along. It's always great to have people out there on the VATSIM. Okay. Right. So I'm going to say stop recording. I'm going to press replay. And there we are. Now it's going to pause. Then I can drag it forwards. Look at this. Now the speed brakes will get a little bit confused. So let's just zoom. There we go. Let's leave it here. Let's let things load up for a second. I can resume. And I could actually pause, or I can press stop replay and it would just let me run live from where I am. So there you go. Thanks, Guy173. Glad you enjoyed it. Kalari, thank you as well. Thanks so much for coming along. And here we go. Look, the first Microsoft Flight Simulator replay. You'll notice the elevators are up. So what I've noticed is the first replay, it doesn't quite manage, but then it's much happier the second one. Eddie T, you're very welcome. Ebos, thanks very much. Thanks for coming along. So, can we get a fancy drone camera? Well, what we can do is we'll do this outside view a couple of times, then we'll do the inside view just to check it works. Paddy, thank you so much for your €5.49 donation. Far too generous. You made this livery for us. Thank you so much, Paddy, and thank you for doing the wings. I really appreciate it, and it's great. And it was, I think, the original intention of this livery, so it's great to see it brought to life. But thank you, Paddy, for all your liveries and all your hard work, and thank you for your €5.49 donation. Paddy says, fantastic stream, worth making the livery for the 3.5 hour geek out about systems. Fantastic. Here we go. Yeah, this is great scenery. I am enjoying it. Look at this. Who'd have thought we'd have simulators like this, eh? Kicking off a bit of the drift. There's a touchdown, and then you see those spoilers just flick up. as long as I don't press the wrong thing, I'm going to pause the replay, and then I can just drag it back, you see. And then I could, if I wanted to, I could do stop replay and just take over. So what you can see is, you can see the wind on the right. So then we get into the flare, just raising the nose. Then there's the rudder to get the nose straight. Hold it there, touchdown, spoilers. Yeah, it works. The replay works. I can't believe it. It's fantastic to have. So this is a freeware on flightsim.to. It's called Flight Recorder. Let me put it into the description for those of you who are interested. It is genius. It requires no installation. And it's just been it's relatively up to date. It works with the mod even if it doesn't. Let me just leave that running again for anyone interested. I would do a drone camera, but that would probably lag so much, and I don't think we'd get much more out of it. What we can do? Let's do a couple of wing views. Let's do our first wing view, and then we can have the engine wing view. So there you go. Now let me put that link into the description. There it is. It's just available. I can't believe it. Shows a different touchdown speed, does it? Yeah, it's not going to be perfect for the touchdown speeds. But there we go. Into the flare. There you go. Fantastic. Great stuff. So, I can... Does it mind Bitcoin on your CPU? Who knows? It's a really big program, but it's great. It's great use for this. Let me pause, rewind, and now look at this. We can have fantastic scenery. Let's go to a view. What are these? This is the fly-by-wire team have done it. As I said, this is just a community effort, this whole add-on. We'll have the left wing view, I think. And I'm going to rewind a little bit further. So I'm going to go to the traditional. We're going to leave it running. We're going to have the outro music. And I'm going to say thank you again so much, everyone, for your contributions, for liking the video, for watching, for chatting. Really appreciate it. Thank you to those who've donated. Very generous, very kind of you. Thank you to the mods for coming along and moderating. Thank you to everyone just for watching, even if you haven't commented or anything like that. Just thank you for being here, and we will see you all again very soon. More videos to come, more live streams to come, lots of exciting things happening. And we've got streams in both simulators planned soon. Let me just pin that message for those of you who want it. It is a great mod. Yeah, I don't know, I can't vouch for its security or anything like that, but it does work for what it's supposed to. And we will see you all again in another live stream or video soon. Thank you so much. Have a great afternoon. And I will say bye-bye.